Southern part of the state will see lows only getting down into the low 70s. Monday, much cooler, mostly sunny, still chances for rain, highs in the upper 80s. I'm Jared Sorello.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 10 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that we respect it. If I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well, Judge, may take it to the house and the dump.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no mock at halftime.
For one Razorback.
It's vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Good morning. Hope everybody has made it through. I know we got some listeners who have had their power knocked out because of the heavy storm that came through last night. So, hey, not the way you want to start school. If your kids are starting today, hey, it's not the way you want to start a week or a day anyway. But we had some pretty powerful stuff come through. You get trees lighting a couple of the streets around our listening audience. But we are here with you today on halftime on a Monday. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston is in the studios today, and we appreciate you tuning in on game week. I know it's not really game week for Arkansas football. We have another 10 days until the season kicks off against UAPB in Little Rock next Thursday, but camp is broken now. So as far as I'm concerned, that means this is game week. It makes it the longest game week of the year because you got 10 days, and that's more than a week and a half, but Matt, hey, you got other games that are actually going to count on Saturday. So it is college football game week, and it's the first time we can say that really since the championship game. So congratulations, we've made it through.
We've made it. Happy Monday. There's still so much going on in the sports world. That's right. The English Premier League is up and running. So game week started for me this last weekend.
All right, how many games did you watch over the weekend?
Too many, probably 4. But the thing I was going to get to is with CD Lamb, speaking of game week, and you're hearing all this stuff, and just like it's coming, just like CD Lamb's going to be fine. He's so all the Dallas. I know we got a Dallas Cowboy fan that does the show with us every day, but CD Lamb would be there. It sounded like some more information came out. So if you're a Cowboys fan, you got to be a little excited.
Well, there's that nice dance that the negotiators do all throughout the. Really, the negotiations are starting once the season is over, and you know that your star receiver wants to sign a new contract, feels he's worth a little bit more than that. But now it really starts to feel like the weight of the season approaching, so you got to get something done. You know, it's this same thing with the 49ers and Trent Williams, and heck, Brandon Ayuk still waiting on whether a deal or a trade. Don't have to worry about that in college football now, Matt. I was reading about Mike Gundy. Shutting down all NIL, it's not discussion, but any sort of influence that NIL can have through to his coaching staff. He said, basically told the agents, no, if you haven't negotiated anything by now, we don't have anything to talk about. We can talk about this again when the portal opens in December, but man, that's just got to be one good thing about college football. Although I did read, I know on the Woo Pig podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't realize why Keyshawn Blackstock missed practice for a full day and then why he was coming up with the second stringers. But usually, Matt, we always thought it would be an injury or something like that, or something wrong with classes or grades for why somebody might not practice in August. That felt like from just listening to the Woo Pig podcast and reading about it, it was kind of like a little mini holdout for a college football player. So I think it's all been figured out, because that was a couple of weeks ago, and Blackstock seems entrenched at right tackle right now. But I don't know. There's one thing that, man, if you end up with like holdouts to the start of the season in college football, now we're talking about a much different thing, because nobody really deserves the opportunity in college football to really do that. You don't have enough of a track record. A guy like CeeDee Lamb, a guy like Brandon Ayuk, like Trent Williams, and it's also written into the labor laws, or not the labor laws, I'd say, the agreement between the Players Association and the NFL owners. You just expect that to happen with certain players this month. College football, that shouldn't happen. And it sounds like Mike Gundy is certainly trying to shut any talk of that stuff down now.
Well, I like it. I do like that. And the thing with those guys that you're talking about, the NFL guys, that's performance-based, and NIL is not supposed to be
that's right.
a performance-based type of thing. And I'll go back last year to, when the teams are a little depleted at the end of the year, they're getting ready for a bowl game, and we've kind of decided they're standalone games. They're a reward. They don't carry the same weight that they did 20 years ago. It's just how it is. There was a kid that he transferred out. The team had two quarterbacks transfer out, and the guy that wasn't making any money got a $50,000 NIL deal in that second window you're talking about, to stay just to play one game, to start a bowl game. So that's pretty cool. I think that's the system working the right way. That's how you want it to work for that kid that wouldn't get anything. He's going off to do whatever his career is, and then was still able to get paid.
Well, it also, that feels like the kind of thing that potentially you walk into during bowl season, which is now opt-out season more than anything else. Hey, if we sweeten the pot a little bit, and again, it's like, and you hit at really the heart of this when it comes down to it. NIL is not supposed to be for your
play on the field.
Performance induced is the way that you put it. That's proper. That's right.
You don't have incentives. Like if you get to 12 touchdowns, you don't get an extra $500,000.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. With college football, it's, hey, just come over here and we'll have a couple of no-show things for you, maybe a few social media posts, and you can get it going there. But you're right about that. It does seem, though, one of the things, and we're talking with Mike Irwin in a little bit, he's brought this up. I think Clay Henry's brought this up with us too. If Blackstock was upset about his NIL, and what it felt like to me was that he was promised something that wasn't delivered, at least not that day or the day before, and caused him to sit out. NIL might have been one of the big things that caused Arkansas to not have a great season last year. I mean, talent level is part of it too, but also there were some. It felt like there were some guys at loggerheads over who's making what at what position, and really last year was the first season where that felt like it was a very big influence on Arkansas football. Hopefully that's not the case right now, because they've talked about getting rid of the right guys, bringing in the right guys, and them not making it all about their money. At least not right now. Right now, it's got to be about getting everything together for 10 days from now and playing very well against UAPB. I guess with the NFL, you just expect with the pros, they can just sort of stay in shape. They can do what they need to do. I know Ayuk is at practice, but is watching. The pros know what it takes to get themselves prepared. The college players, some of them know what it takes, but they need the full 4 weeks.
Yeah, you're still learning. Don't you think too, Phil, that these colleges, these institutions, they're bigger than these players are? We talk about players for NIL and performance based, but the players are there for a year, 6 months sometimes. If they just got there in the spring and they're a senior, they're going to be done by December. They're not really there that long. They're getting paid a lot of money, but don't you think that the actual institutions are bigger than all these players that are coming through?
Heck, absolutely it is. I mean, the athletic department is bigger than each of the players coming in. The athletic department is bigger than football, although it wouldn't exist without the money coming in from football. You're right about that. I mean, it's even if you were just to separate the school from the football team, the football program itself is bigger than each of the players that are coming in. Traditions, fans that have, spent their lives,
The years and years and years,
and their money on what it takes to be a fan. And I know some people will throw it out there. It's like, your opinion doesn't matter much because you don't go to any games. Really? Well, they're still spending money at home by having ESPN, by actually putting the effort in to setting aside the 3 hours and sit there and watch the game as a fan. You're right. You must have viewed it that way too. And I'm saying it's an obvious thing for somebody like you, Matt, because you deflect praise and talk more about your teammates, but couldn't have been everybody in that locker room with you and in every locker room that you've been in that takes it from that angle where I'm just a small piece. No matter how good I am, I'm just a small piece of something that's much larger than myself.
Yeah, I mean, to have a successful team, you have to realize that Coach Nutt did a great job recruiting guys with high character and guys that would buy in. He really had the thing going. I mean, you look back, too, on his tenure there. You got to put him up in the top 4, top 5 coaches ever to be up there at the university and the success that he was able to have.
Well, halftime today, we've got 3 guests. We've got Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South during the 1 o'clock hour. That'll be a quarter after 1. We'll look around the SEC, and hey, you don't have anybody playing this weekend, but you get some pretty good games that are starting next week. We'll talk with Nate Olson from Scorebook Live. High school football gets started this week. We've got some benefit games that we're taking a look at that should be very interesting with cross-league matchups. And in just a moment, we'll visit with Pig Trail Nation's Mike Irwin. So stay with us here on Halftime.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
This is Halftime.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
It's a stunning way to go somewhere new in the 2024 Buick Encore GX from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Right now, get up to $3,000 off and 0.9% financing for well-qualified buyers on the Buick Encore GX. The Encore GX is a boldly styled 5-person SUV that is ready to reward up to $3,000 off.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all.
Eyes to take a peek, to find that I was by the sea, gazing with tranquility. Just then when I heard a good man came singing songs of love. Then when I heard a good man came singing
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, let's head right to our hotline. Chance to talk with Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation here, 10 days before the first kickoff of the Arkansas football season. But, Mike, it is game week. We actually have a league game later on this week in Dublin, Florida State at Georgia Tech. So, hey, I'll get up and watch that. I would bet a guess here, 877-377-6963. Text it in. How many of you are going to watch Florida State at Georgia Tech? 11 o'clock in the morning Saturday. I know I will, Mike. I bet you will too.
Yes, I will watch it, and then we will have football every weekend from now until the end of the year. So that's good, right? After this long summer that just gets longer and longer, and the closer you get to the end of this thing, you just slow down. I mean, I'm so tired of talking about stuff. I want to talk about real things, not things that might happen, but things that actually happen. I've always preferred that. The worst part of this job is the speculating part. It's much more fun to talk about something that you just saw happen and analyze it.
Last year, if you remember the game, Notre Dame, and it was kind of Sam Hartman coming out party, how he transferred from Wake Forest and was there at Notre Dame. Now, Florida State's going to be a little different this year. Do you think Florida State has that? I know you don't like talking about it, but do you think they have that chip on their shoulder? You think Florida State gets started off on the right track against Georgia Tech?
Well, I mean, Matt, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I've seen teams mad the whole summer, mad in the spring, and and they're mad, and all of a sudden it just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. But other times it works great, so it's just hard to say. I mean, I am curious about it because they kind of took a hit at the end of the year, and there's a lot of people taking shots at them in the off season, and really, it looks like they're one of the better college programs, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sitting here honestly trying to wrap my head around that Sam Pittman press conference after the second scrimmage. It occurs to me, guys, that he is the worst PR person on the planet, because if you just sat there and listened to him, you think, boy, that was terrible. I mean, I had a guy tell me, they're back where they were last year. No, they really weren't. He just didn't. He kind of played up all the bad stuff and didn't kind of explain some of the stuff that, like, for instance, there were 8 interceptions, but Taylon Green threw one of them or whatever, and it was off somebody's hands, and maybe should have caught the ball. They ran the ball okay. It was mainly a passing scrimmage, and as it was explained later on, Petrino was just going to put everything out there on the edge, take a look at a lot of his playbook, and then decide after that scrimmage, okay, we're going to put this play on the shelf for a while. This doesn't look like it's working. This works. So it was kind of a worst-case scenario for the offense anyway. And then you've got this really good defense, and that's the part, to me, that's interesting. They just look better and better to me all the time. I think the offense will be improved because of Petrino and because of some of the changes they've made. But I think fans are going to be really surprised at how much better this defense is in year 2. And that will help them a lot. I don't know how many games they're going to win. I've still got people coming up to me and saying Pittman's gone by Halloween or whatever, gone 4 games into the conference, and isn't Petrino. One of the questions I got was, if Petrino takes over mid-season, how much can he rescue the season? And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute. If he's the offensive coordinator and he's got this job and he's all in on it, how does he get better by putting a bunch of extra work on his plate? How does that make the offense better? That makes no sense to me. I don't know how this team would get better if you suddenly made him head coach halfway through the season. It seems to me it would be disruptive, but yet you still have people thinking that. So, again, we'll get underway here in a couple of weeks, and then we'll start talking about real stuff.
Pittman speaks at the Little Rock Touchdown Club today, so they're getting their thing kicked off, so it'll be about 30, 35, 40 minutes of him up there speaking. I'm not sure if they're taking questions, as they do with some of the other guests as well, but somebody has spoken to Sam about how he speaks, because have you noticed? I think he even mentioned this at spring practice. He's trying not to say things of that nature, and he doesn't say it in the pressers anymore. I would edit all of the sound for the pregame show, of course, and I would try to edit that out, because it would be sometimes. I'm not saying this as an insult or anything. It's just a fact. Sometimes he would say it 10, 15 times in a 20-minute presser. He doesn't say that anymore. Somebody spoke to him about that. I do wonder about, is there going to be an I don't know answer to how do you get the offense moving again like there was last year? So it's not like nobody is coaching him somewhat. It's just a matter of, I don't know how you say to somebody, it's like, don't be so honest, right?
Do you like the fact that he doesn't sugarcoat it so much? Like, isn't that kind of appealing about him?
Well, it is in some respects. Here's what I think a lot of the problem is. I think he's fine in a thing like today, where he just goes in and he's talking. Here's where he has a problem. If you're out there in the heat for 2.5 hours, and he's 61 years old, slightly overweight, it can't be fun out there in that heat. And then he comes right out of that into a press conference. And my view of that press conference, he spent about the first 10 minutes wiping sweat off his forehead, trying to collect his thoughts. I played golf that same day in the afternoon, and it was really hot. And I came home, and there was a bunch of stuff I was supposed to do that morning. And when I walked through the door, my wife starts hitting me with all these questions. Did you go over the Social Security? Did you go do this? And I just said, I'm not answering any questions. I'll talk to you later. I went upstairs, threw cold water all over my face, laid down on the bed for about an hour, and then I got up and answered the questions, because I don't think I could think very clearly at that point. Well, that's where he was. He was trying to answer all these questions. He was roasting. So, I think some of that, if I'm over there, what I do is I make a suggestion. How about we have this press conference about 30 minutes later? Give you time to go in and take a shower, cold shower, cool off, get yourself together, and then go in and answer your question, because I'm telling you guys, that's tough. I've always felt for players, they have to come, especially when they grab them right off the field and start peppering them with questions, and track and field. Have you ever noticed that a guy runs 400 meters and then they run up to him 10 seconds later and start asking him a bunch of questions? What kind of sense are you going to make? So that was just my view of that press conference. I think it got better as he got further into it, as he began to cool off and adjust. But that's what I was thinking when I was watching this was, man, this guy, somebody ought to let him take a break here for about 15 minutes.
Mike, how did we end up, I guess, since camp's over and we're getting ready for week 1, do we have all our bullets? Is everybody pretty healthy? Did we suffer any bad injuries so far?
The only one that seems to be concerning a little bit is Kudus, and they keep talking about he's got a back injury. And Pittman kept saying a week or so ago he expected him back. It'll be interesting to see if he's back today. I haven't looked, or certainly by next week. But back injuries are a tough thing. I mean, it's just tough to tell. But that's the one that's lasted. The rest of them seem to come and go. And honestly, I feel like he's been overly cautious on some of these. Guy's got a turf toe. Let's let him rest another week. Somebody's got a little ankle tweak. Let him rest another week. That's really what's been going on with, the 2 wide receivers that have been out. I think he said both of them could play. And I think that's part of what happened in that scrimmage. You're without your top 2 receivers. And you can't tell me that's not going to affect you a little bit throwing the football.
All it is it was a number. It was just a number without enough context to it. And I was thinking exactly the same thing you just mentioned. I mean, how many offensive snaps this year are you not going to have Andrew Armstrong and Tyrone Broden on the field?
Meaningful snaps, right?
Probably not very many of them. So, yeah, it's like that wasn't necessarily the team that you're going to be playing with, at least not offensively, when it comes to those 2 guys alone. I mean, shuffle the offensive line. It sounds like they're pretty comfortable where that is. I know Jaquindon Jackson has missed a couple practices, and I mean that's a guy who I feel you need out there. But I don't know, how he sounded like he didn't practice or scrimmage all that much on Thursday either. And he's just like, all right, those 3 guys, Armstrong, Broden, Jaquindon Jackson, like they're going to be on the field for more snaps than probably anybody outside of the quarterback and the offensive line.
Yeah, I think he's just being very cautious with those guys. He knows what they can do. It's not like they got to be out there every day. Just be careful with that. I'm not sure as a head coach I would even worry about stuff like that. If I felt like I had a solid player at a position this time of year, I'd hold him back and use and develop other guys. I mean, you don't leave them out completely, but I was surprised. I talked to Jason Carroll that's now covering Oklahoma State. He's over there, and their big stud, the Heisman Trophy guy that everybody's been talking about, he might be hurt. He said he scrimmaged on Saturday. I was a little bit surprised that you would scrimmage somebody like that, although he did say they weren't tackling to the ground, so maybe that was it. But I'm not a big believer in taking really good, experienced players and just treating them like anybody else during fall or August camp. I think you got to be a little bit careful with those guys.
You got to know your assignment. That's the main thing with the other guys, as far as with your running back or your receivers. And I think you're right. As long as you know your assignment, we'll be all right. Hey, I want to ask you, Mike, is there any freshmen? Is there any freshmen that have been flashing? I know we had a decent class of new freshmen, and Metcalf, I think, had an interception in the when the quarterbacks threw collectively 8. What about C.J. Brown? Have you been hearing about any freshmen that have been flashing?
Well, he's not a typical freshman, but how about Monte Harrison? The guy. He's not a starter, but he did start in the scrimmage and had another touchdown catch. I mean, I think he's going to play a lot. I'm trying to recall. There was of course, Braylon Russell. I think he's going to play. He's a true freshman. It's hard to know how much Petrino will rotate those running backs, but I got to believe he's going to play a lot. Now, there's a cornerback, Selman Bridges. Mm-hmm. And he was working with the second unit during camp and has been impressive. And cornerback is a position where you figure there's going to be a lot of rotation. So I think he's a guy that could, he's a true freshman that could see a lot of playing time. And there are 2 or 3 others. And to be honest with you, that doesn't usually happen. And I don't think we're talking about these guys because there was nobody good in front of them. I just think they've been that impressive. So it just speaks to the fact, what I keep telling people is, I can't tell you how many games they're going to win or lose. I can just tell you this is not the same team that it was last year at this point. It's not even, doesn't even look like that team. There are just too many changes. And I think they are mostly changes for the good.
So how many games are they going to win this year, Mike? Kidding. I didn't mean that. that is, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we'll get that question on the text line. We'll get that on the phone calls. We'll get that walking around town. If you just come across a fan, and how many games are they going to win? Be like, I don't know. I really don't.
Don't you think though, Mike? If we're gonna look at it objectively and kind of take the glasses off, these first 3 games we have to be 2-1 minimum. I mean, if anything other than 2-1 in these first 3 games, then maybe there's a red flag or two we should raise.
Is it also, Mike, let me just jump in. Is it also part of it, like let's say the losses to Oklahoma State, is it also a matter of maybe style points in that game too?
Sure. And look, guys, here's what really matters. What matters is what Hunter Yurachek thinks. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying to you is, I've been told he's very comfortable with this staff that Sam has now put together. He goes over there and watches them. He likes the interaction between the coaches. He likes the players now. The players seem to be all of that fractured stuff that they had last year is gone, at least for now. And that he is of the opinion that the league is so tough that you can't necessarily expect a team to go from 4 wins to 8 wins automatically. Maybe it goes to 6. And that's okay. That's progress. Because if you start over every time you turn around, that's all we've had since Petrino left, right? Hire a coach, have him for 3 or 4 years, run him off. Hire a coach, 3 or 4 more years, run him off. At some point, you got to stop that. And maybe this is it. I don't know. I just don't get the impression that Pittman is about ready to hang it up like some people do. He doesn't say or do anything to me that indicates, yeah, I'm at the end of this thing. I just like to go down to Hot Springs and sit by my hog statue and watch people drive by in their boats.
Not only is Coach Pittman going to be the head coach at the end of this season, he's going to be the head coach next year. I think everybody. I think we're wasting our breath if that's the thing. I think Pittman's here this year. I think it's going to be a bounce back year. I think he'll be the head coach when 2025 gets here.
And I think what Yurachek is looking at is the foundation and building it back up. And you don't have to build a house in 2 weeks. Maybe it takes you 3 months to build. That's how you build houses. You don't build them as fast as you can, not if you want them to last. So, he's kind of looking at it like that.
Mike, let's leave it there.
Makes a lot of fans angry.
Well, I think you're right. We got a couple of texts already in just about that. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll visit again next week, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Always appreciate your time. Mike Irwin, Pig Trail Nation, with us each Monday on Halftime. And I think he's viewing it from your perspective too, Matt. I mean, you've said this to me off the air, but it's just a little bit difficult sometimes for all the guesswork, projection, hope.
The turnover is so much bigger now than it ever has been. Think about, I'll go to basketball. When Coach Cal got here, he's like, well, we got to get a team before we get a schedule. The turnover is ridiculous.
877-377-6963 if you want to jump in on that. Brought to you by Crabtree RV Center. Been in Almo for over 70 years. They're at the junction of I-40 and I-49 right beside the Cracker Barrel. Going to make sure that your family receives the absolute best experience looking for an RV. They'll help you choose the perfect vehicle for the adventures you describe. And if there's a breakdown, they have the service and parts department right there on site. CrabtreeRV.com for more information. Stay with Halftime. We'll be right back.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a 4th-generation family-owned business taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Z Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
The Solid Rock has been locally owned for over 46 years. When was the last time you were there? So much more than a bookstore. They have Christian t-shirts, church supplies, Bible studies, devotionals, home decor, gifts, and of course, a large selection of Bibles. And Bibles are engraved free of charge while you wait. Now, you can get custom laser engraving on select gift items and some Bibles. Located next to Sam's Club on South 74th, The Solid Rock is your source for faith-based books, music, clothing, and more. The Solid Rock, 452-4844.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crickhopper.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Did you know that almost 80% of all advertising is spent on digital? This is Dale Daniels, Digital Sales Manager for ESPN Arkansas, and due to the growth in digital advertising, we have the opportunity for the right person to join our team. Digital and radio advertising go hand in hand, and we're looking for someone to help businesses grow with this powerful combination. If you have experience in broadcast and digital marketing or business development, we want to hear from you. Email your resume to sales@hitthatline.com. Pearson Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Bring me your love, how your love's your love, so I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your love, how your love's your love, so I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your love, so I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your love, so your love, so I wanna love them too, you know. I thought you were like a dog. Bring me your love, so your love, loves, your loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, all your loves, your loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, all your loves, your loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, all your loves, your loves, I wanna love them too, you know.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Back here on Halftime, as you're looking at this Florida State Georgia Tech game coming up this Saturday in Dublin. You got two quarterbacks who've transferred out. Haynes King, remember him from A&M? He's at Georgia Tech. I think this is his second year there. He had the broken leg a couple of years ago. DJ Uiagalelei at Florida State, third school in 3 years.
What happened to Travis Hunter? Not Travis Hunter, sorry.
Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis. Did he not get healthy? Because he was hurt. I figured he would definitely be the starting quarterback. So he's not. Wow, that's
he is with the Jets.
Oh, well, he's not played in the NFL.
He was a 5th round draft choice.
Okay, well, he'll get to watch for a year or two.
He will get to watch for quite a while. But yeah, and I was going to look through the Arkansas schedule and just figure out how many of these quarterbacks that Arkansas faces are transfers. I don't think all that many of them, truthfully. I don't know who the UAPB quarterback is yet. I haven't done my Golden Lions research, so I'll work on that soon. Alan Bowman at Oklahoma State, he's a returner. Jacob Zeno is the senior quarterback at UAB.
Got a good coach.
He's been there a couple of years. That's right. He's got a coach who was a quarterback.
We'll have more talent than that team, but I'm interested, Phil. You get coaches and players. I'm interested to see their offense, and I'm interested to see their quarterback play.
Remember, that's a program that did away with football for maybe a year there. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. The athletic director, I think, made a decision, may have been the board of trustees too. They killed the Blazers football program, and since then, I think they only missed out for a year. They've become one of the better Conference USA programs, or pardon me, American Conference programs. Still have a lot of trouble remembering which one of these schools is in which one of these leagues. But yeah, they've been good of late. But they have got a returning quarterback in Jacob Zeno, part of a team that went to a bowl game last year. Auburn, they're returning Peyton Thorne. A&M, they got Connor Wagman again. Tennessee, Nico Ayamaleva, not a transfer, but a true freshman. LSU's got Garrett Nussmeier, and Nussmeier's been there for, I think this is his 4th year. Mississippi State, now they brought in Blake Shapen from Baylor, so there will be a transfer quarterback for at least one Arkansas opponent moving forward, because after that, there's Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, Quinn Ewers at Texas. I haven't looked up Louisiana Tech's quarterback yet. Missouri's got Brady Cook. So if you're just going by the SEC opponents, one transfer quarterback, just one.
And if I'm looking at it too, there's not one quarterback that I think until maybe the Texas game that you say sided advantage at their quarterback position. Like Taylon Green is supposed to be just as good as Peyton Thorne. He's supposed to be just as good as a true freshman starting at Tennessee. Nussmeier, there's a reason why it's 4 years before he got to play. Although LSU, man, if you're a backup at LSU, you're probably really good, Mississippi State's quarter, you start Jackson Dart. You think you'd have Jackson Dart just because we don't know, it's the unknown with Taylon Green.
Sure,
but potential and talent wise, I think Taylon Green's going to be real similar to Brady Cook. I think if you watch Brady Cook last year at Missouri, you watch his attributes, you watch what he does. Big, strong kid that can run, strong arm. The thing with Taylon Green, and we don't know this yet, is his accuracy. But that's kind of. From just the little glimpses I've seen, Phil, and we'll know more September 7th what type of player he is, but that's kind of who I see him being, is a guy like that.
You're right, though. There's a heavy differential in their completion percentages, and keeping in mind that Boise State plays in a Group of 5 conference, although that's a good program, really good program. 57%, I think it was last year for Green, and Brady Cook has been sitting. I mean, he's been improving. It was at just under 65% 2022. Last year, he upped it to 66%. I'd probably give Green the edge as far as speed and running ability. But you're right, Cook is a big guy who can move too. Louisiana Tech is expected to have Jack Turner at quarterback, and he has been there for 2 previous years. So again, I would have to look up the UAPB quarterback, but it does appear as of right now that Arkansas is going to start a transfer probably every game at quarterback, and that there'll be one opponent. One opponent. I read where there were over 200, I think there were about 220 quarterbacks, if not more, that went into the portal last year. I don't know if all of them found a place to go. But if you think about that, now there are other teams in the SEC that have a schedule where they're playing similar opponents to Arkansas. But, man, I mean, out of 12 games, and again, I got to look up UAPB, but let's just say out of 11 games, one transfer quarterback, that feels surprising, doesn't it?
It does. It does with all it's the wild, wild west. But I like it when you started listing those quarterbacks and we start going through the schedule, and I think of our offensive coordinator. I think of a new offensive line. I think that we're going to have an identity, being able to run the ball. You're going to have an athletic two-way quarterback. I don't see disadvantage Arkansas is what I'm saying in a lot of these in that quarterback matchup. That alone should keep you about 500. I just don't see any way that if we're healthy and all the sounds you're hearing about how we hit on everybody in the transfer portal, and if the quarterback comes to fruition, this team doesn't win 6 games minimum.
Jason in Mountain Home texted in asking, will KJ start for Gus? I would assume so. Without following what's going on at UCF camp, I can't imagine you bring in a guy who set records at Arkansas. And that's independent of what the team record was last year. I mean, he set records at Arkansas. You're not going to bring him in and say you're battling for a position. That's my expectation.
KJ is going to shine for UCF. Here's the thing Gus does that's really, really good for KJ. He's going to make the picture clear for him and tell him where to go with the ball. The talent's not the issue with KJ. It's the process. It's deciphering the information is the issue with KJ. Talent, he has it. Gus is going to simplify it for him and get him where he's going with the ball. The game's going to slow down a little bit. KJ's going to shine. KJ's going to put up big numbers for UCF this year.
I was checking in on Haynes King here because I couldn't remember if he had transferred to Tech for this year or last year. All right, this is second year at Georgia Tech. He was a hand-picked quarterback at A&M by Jimbo Fisher, hand-picked. And had an awful broken leg that cost him most of that 2022 season. So that's his one transfer. You look at Uiagalelei for Florida State. He had to transfer. I mean, he had gone over to Oregon State. I don't remember if he had transferred by the time the Beavers were left with their cheese flapping in the wind because the rest of the Pac-12 went elsewhere and there was nowhere for Washington State or Oregon State to go. When you're relegated, the way those two schools were relegated, you're going to lose players. You're going to lose coaches. They lost their coach who used to play quarterback for Oregon State too. That's Jonathan Smith. He's now the head coach at Michigan State. I mean, I think there's a much difference in the amount of money that you can offer a head coach between the Big Ten and even the Pac-12, or certainly a school like Oregon State. But I don't know if they wouldn't have been relegated. Would Smith have stayed there? Where he had quarterback, where he had been handpicked to have his first head coaching job, and would Uiagalelei have stayed there another year too? But at that point, you got to get out because you didn't sign up to play in the Pac-2 and play against only Mountain West schools afterwards. So yeah, that'll be a battle of transfers. It won't be the only. There's gonna be a lot of games probably next week, the week after, and all throughout the year where you have 2 transfer quarterbacks going up against each other. But I don't think a lot of those games are going to be in the SEC. 877-377-6963 when you want to get with us here on Halftime Today. They got brand new menu additions that they're rolling out at Twin Peaks and Rogers starting tomorrow. New wing sauces featuring chicken tikka or spicy chili crisp. I'm a big fan of chili crisp sauce. They got new takes on famous flatbreads with backyard barbecue brisket or chicken tikka. Can't decide between a quesadilla or taco? We'll grab the Quesabirria tacos, and that features in-house smoked brisket served with birria broth for dipping. That sounds delicious. That's at Twin Peaks in Rogers. They've got sports blasting from every angle, 29-degree draft beer, and made-from-scratch favorites, and, of course, their famous scenic views. Always more to watch at Twin Peaks. Back to wrap up hour number 1 of Halftime right after this.
The jerk store called. They're running out of you.
This is Halftime.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
When it comes to me, so all alone, I offer shelter, safe from the rain. She says nothing, just turns out. She said, all I want from you is everything. Really, on my love, keep the feeling free. All I want from you is everything. Really, on my love, keep the feeling free.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
I love opening up the text line about, 30, 45 minutes before we get on the air. If I don't listen much to the morning rush, and I did listen some today, get a sense of what it is they were talking about. And I walked into a text conversation between C45, our secondary producer, Colton Little, and Chase, who listens to us on our Fort Smith affiliate. And they must have been talking about soup on the morning rush at some point. Because Colton told Chase he does not like the word chowder. He finds it unappealing. Chase agrees, and yet I think to myself, how are you guys with the word bisque? Because these are polar opposites of the soup world. One is very smooth and velvety. One is chunky and a little wetter. But I don't. There are no foods I can't eat because of the sound of the food. But it sounds like Chase and C45 can't eat chowder.
Chowder, bisque, you know what? I'll go gumbo. There you go.
There is absolutely nothing unappealing about the word gumbo. Everything about those 5 letters sounds delicious. I mean, it evokes a flavor in your mouth already.
Tomato bisque with a little basil on top with a grilled cheese, like sourdough grilled cheese with some extra virgin olive oil on top as well.
We got more than 2 hours. I can't make anything just yet.
That's true.
But I have a plan to make some shrimp bisque either later tonight or tomorrow. The kids didn't ask for it. I just felt like making it for some reason. I don't even know why, because it's not bisque weather. I mean, we're getting to 88 degrees today, down from a high of 138. It's not bisque weather, but somehow I managed to pull it off anyway. Is there a food that you will not eat because of the sound of the food?
Like gizzards?
There's one that
maybe
I've
just
thought
because
about.
they don't taste good. Maybe also that has to be something too. But if somebody said, "Hey, you want some gizzards?"
I think the word gizzard probably flavors the food a little bit for you too.
Be like, you got anything else? What else we got?
Something without 2 Z's side by side. Although, hey, a blizzard at Dairy Queen is delicious, so it can't be the double Z's. Can't be. I think about like the George Carlin routine, garbanzo beans. Hey, that's the first 5 letters in the word garbage. Won't eat that. Yogurt
beans are good though.
Won't eat anything with a Y and a G in it. Kumquat. Make up your own reasons why. Head cheese. Ew. Don't really need to have the word head in anything that I'm about to eat. Are we right here?
Get some backstrap.
Backstrap would be one. I think that would be one that I might think about for a moment.
Like your salmon ankles though. I've never had any. I keep looking for them.
Backstrap makes me think I'm eating a belt. Like a leather belt. And I can't eat that. My teeth aren't sharp enough. 877-377-6963 to get with us. Yes, Troy, succotash. That's right. Sounds like an insult. Tripe. Sounds like a bad insult, too, doesn't it? Really does. Grits. Now, Morgan in Fort Smith is the one person I know of here in Arkansas that won't eat grits. But it does sound just a little bit gritty. Halftime. We'll be back right after this.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
I know we're always on the go, heading to Fayetteville, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, and you need a place to fill up. But not just for gas. I need snacks, drinks, and a restroom that doesn't make me throw up. That's why my new favorite pit stop is Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue on the way out of town. I can't stop by without getting something from their hot box or a fresh made burger. That's Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between two thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, sunny skies. There is a chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms early. Our high today in the mid to upper 80s. Mainly clear to partly cloudy, low 60s north, upper 60s south overnight. On Tuesday, back to sunshine, a high low 80s north, upper 80s south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 10 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got to take it here. That's the perspective. If I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Well, Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no mock at halftime.
For one Razorback.
It's vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Back for a second hour on halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Kristen Johnston with us as well in the producer's chair today. And, we got a lot of answers coming in here about foods you won't eat because of the sound of the food. Cottage cheese is something Ryan won't eat. I guess the word cottage is the reason why. It's almost like you can feel it curdling in your mouth if you just listen to the word. Jamie loves a good lobster bisque. Lobster is a little too expensive, I think, to make that at this very moment. Pork belly, mountain oysters is what Rob won't eat. Jamie May says tripe. All of these seem to make a lot of sense to me. And then there's one thing that JT has said which doesn't fit with me. He just can't use the word onion. Is onion in the name, onions on it, he's out. I think it's more about is it about the flavor, onion, or is it about the word? And do Funyuns count in this sense for you, JT? There really isn't a food that I won't eat because of the sound of it. There is only a few things that I won't eat anyway. So I wouldn't be the right person to ask to begin with.
Whatever that fish sauce, whenever you go get if you want to get some egg drop soup or you get some pad thai, sometimes they'll have some type of fish soup. That's just I can't do I can eat fish, do that, but if they make like a fish soup, it's just ugh.
Well, let's see. We've got should have an idea of the basketball schedule tomorrow, or at least the SEC schedule, the way it'll shake out. We know what the opponents are. You know Arkansas plays everybody at least once, Texas, LSU, and Missouri twice. Found out over the weekend about Pacific, UOP. I've been to some of their games, Pacific Tigers. Man, that means you're playing a lot more Tigers, right? You got the Pacific Tigers, you've got the Auburn Tigers, the Missouri Tigers. Am I missing on some of those? There's another Tiger out there that I'm probably forgetting for some reason, but I think they're going to play 4 Tigers this year. Pacific is one of them. We just don't know the date. UALR, Illinois. We found out Illinois was confirmed. You know, the rumors were about that recently, but it'll be Kansas City Thanksgiving Day, 3 o'clock after the Lions game. It'll be on CBS. Got Miami on the road in the ACC SEC Challenge. Michigan at Madison Square Garden. UCA in Dogtown, North Carolina, A&T, and Oakland at home. I didn't realize this, but I guess UALR's coach Darrell Walker spilled a little bit of the beans of it, that the deal with UALR in Fayetteville it sounds like it'll be a multi-team event. I don't know what they're going to call it, but usually that goes along the lines of like the Arkansas Classic or the Razorback Classic, something like that. You can sell a sponsorship with it. So I think Arkansas will play one of the other teams that's also there. Illinois apparently might be one of them, so I don't think you play them twice. Maryland Eastern Shore is the other, but we should know the rest of the SEC basketball schedule. According to John Rothstein, we'll know it tomorrow.
Walmart should sponsor it and call it the Five and Dime. That would be so sick. You know, just every
love
year,
this idea.
Every year, start having the Five and Dime, and man, that'd be pretty cool.
Just have to introduce a 5-point shot past half court. Dimes already speak for itself in the game of basketball, but there are no fives, no nickels just yet. But I do like I like your marketing idea.
Maybe you start a lineup with all centers. You know, let's go out there fives.
Or everybody can be 5'10". We don't have enough of those players in college basketball anyway. That would be the the student managers game. You know, everybody 5'10".
I think we were pretty good in that last year in the student managers game. I don't know that they keep that track. They make that too public, but I think as far as basketball, I think our managing side was better than the actual team. Yeah.
They have their own. They should have their own little.
I think they beat
a really
Vanderbilt.
small practice court.
Seriously, they beat Vanderbilt for the championship for the student managers last year, and you're just like, oh, both those teams. Their best talent was washing the towels.
Well, do you get a ring? I mean, do you get a banner to place somewhere in your
You probably get a
bedroom?
washer and dryer, you know, because you just do so much laundry as a student manager. They probably give you something cool.
Well, practice makes perfect. 877-377-6963 to get with us. Josh won't eat Rocky Mountain oysters. JT says no Funyuns. Jamie doesn't like eel sauce. Is it the 2 E's next to the L? Because eel sauce is delicious.
I like
that's
unagi.
Sweet. That's
You go
sweet
get
stuff.
some sushi and get some unagi. Ooh, that's good stuff right
You
there.
give me anything umami with which I think unagi is, and I'll be
It's
pretty
eel.
happy with it.
Yeah, unagi's eel.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain oysters. That's something I can eat. It's just, once you realize what it is, it might be a little bit gamey for a moment there. Charlie's here with us today. Good afternoon, Tuna. Do you eat tuna now that you go into the third person all the time? Have you given up tuna?
No, Phil, actually, it's always been one of my favorite things. But I will say, I would never, ever, and I'm with somebody who said they didn't do onions, I'm out. I'm out on onions, not only on the sound of it, I hate the smell of it,
What is
and I
wrong
hate
with
the
the
taste
word
of it.
onion? I mean, it's like salsa. It's like people like to say onion. It's actually
I
an
don't know
attractive
if
thing to
it's-
say.
I don't know if it's just the word, man. I don't know. It's a lot of things to it. Cucumber, I'm out on that too. I'm out on carrots too, Phil. I'm sorry. I'm out. The tuna is out. And I'm a picky eater, so you can ask me.
You don't
these things
say.
and I'll put... Yeah, I'm a picky eater, man. So you can ask me these things. I'm like, yeah, I'm out on that. But anyway, I will say this. What were you guys just talking about? You guys were talking about the basketball schedule, right?
Yeah, the SEC schedule should come out, I think, tomorrow. Some schools have released their full non-conference schedule, but it feels like Arkansas is waiting on maybe another game.
Well, I'm excited to see that, obviously, but at the same time, I know Cal's going to put us together a good non-conference schedule too, because he always scheduled tough at Kentucky that I remember for non-conference games. I felt like it was something that he did intentionally to prepare his team for later on in the year. So anyway, I was also going to comment on something. I was listening to some people talk about how Sam sounded the other day after the second scrimmage, and they were trying to, I guess, somewhat criticize him. And I'm like, well, first of all, he sounded like he had lost his voice or something. But also, you know, there's such thing as called as being, you know, you're tired. I mean, it's just a thing. And he was a little bit frustrated the other day, but I would rather him come up there and tell us the truth. I don't understand why people want to hear Coach speak all the time. Like, come up there and tell me the truth. What were your concerns with the scrimmage? And I want to hear those. I don't like this, we did this well and we did that well. And blah. Yeah, we're going to, you know, I'd rather it be that way. I don't know about you guys, but Matt, did Coach Nutt, did he ever, I don't remember a lot of the interviews from back then, but did he call players out? I mean, would he call certain guys out in press conferences to the media, or was he more just straight up coach speak, or kind of how did he do it, and how do you prefer it, Matt, like from a coach? Anyways, y'all have a good one.
Well,
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, I think there's a proper way to use the media in your favor, and I think Coach Nutt did a really good job using the media and the way he went about it. You know, usually you want to at least have a sit down. I mean, you kind of know what's going on, either good or bad, before, but if the coach is blasting you out on the media, 99% of the time, Phil, in my experience, you've already had the conversation personally. He's not just going to blast you out or tell you good things or bad, whatever. A lot of times there's already been that the talk has already happened between the player and the coach.
You know, I think people want answers, and that was really the criticism, you know, with the I don't know answer about how you get the offense going back in October. That just felt like a lot of built-up frustration to one answer that felt like it wasn't acceptable at that moment. But on the other hand, he did answer that honestly. And the other aspect, too, is nobody else had any answers either. No fans had proper answers. Nobody had an answer to that. In this case, it's almost like, all right, well, he didn't like put anybody on blast about it. I don't remember him saying anybody by name specifically. But you know, it's different things. You know, and he feel like he can control the narrative if it's a scrimmage where it's all closed doors and no one's there except your own people. But you know, sometimes we criticize coaches for coach speak. You know, I mean, you can't have it both ways, can you?
I like the way Coach Pittman approaches the media. He could have very easily said, you know, our starting offense, we had 1 interception, and then the rest of the group had 7. And we got to clean the backups. Got to be better. You know, you very easily could have went out there and approached it that way and said, hey, the backups aren't up to par. There's a reason starters are starters and backups are backups. Backups have to get better, because that's what. Now I still don't know if that's the truth, but I think that's what came out. The starters had 1 interception, and the rest was the other 7 was the backups.
Alan texted in and corrected me that it is I forgot about LSU, and I don't know how I did that. But if you look at this, so Arkansas has LSU twice. Mizzou twice. This is for basketball. Then Auburn once. So that's just 5 games against Tigers in the SEC alone. And then there's Pacific. 6 games against the Tigers this year. We need some creativity with some of these school names. Hey, brought to you by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, right next to Baum, where they've been for a long, long time. Football season is 10 days away. If you are not loaded up on your hog gear, well, the Stadium Shop on Razorback is the place to do it. They got it all for tailgating, game day, your man cave, your she shed, the dorm room. It doesn't get more Razorback than the Stadium Shop. Robert, Elizabeth, and Matt are local family. They're alumni and own and operate the Stadium Shop themselves. 479-STADIUM is the phone number, or just stop by the Stadium Shop on Razorback. Tell them we at ESPN Arkansas sent you. Also online at shoponrazorback.com. Going to make a gear shift into high school football because we have games this week across the state. Nate Olson from Scorebook Live stops by right after this.
Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo!
This is halftime.
It's like Clark Kent. This guy is dominating offensively.
This video is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Eve from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swart Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot.
It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill.
So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas.
Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful
ESPN 95.3.
Time is really cold seas. Just because I understand doesn't mean that I agree. It gets lonelier than this. Standing in the corner, some things we miss. Tonight, real, and change the love. They tell you you're forgiven, but you're not.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at Hit That Line AR and on Facebook and Instagram at Hit That Line. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Before we go to our hotline and talk with Nate Olson, I gotta throw it out. I gotta throw an apology towards Nate because I missed a very big birthday party last week because I had to head up to Fayetteville Wednesday night. We don't celebrate all the birthdays here because not all of them really are worth celebrating. But I'm sure, because Nate's one of the most positive people you'll ever come into contact with. So I can't imagine that he viewed turning 50 as a negative. Good afternoon, Nate, and I'll be a little bit late on it, but happy 50th. And how many extra wrinkles have you had in the last 5 days?
Well, quite a few. And, and Matt, you would have been invited too. I knew you were up there. I had a lot of people that I would have liked to have there, my coworkers from around the country. But I'll get serious with you for just 1 second. I have had a lot of friends that have dealt with sickness and death this year. And I said a long time ago that I'm never going to get upset about getting old because it's better than the alternative. I talked to my dad about that on my birthday. He's 75. And, I think a lot of this is attitude, how you approach things. I mean, there's going to be stuff that irritates you, frustrates you, upsets you. But, I mean, having a good mindset, try to enjoy things. I remember my kids keep me young. Some days I feel 18, some days I feel 50, and some days I feel 80. But I'm glad to be here, and that was a good time. I'm glad to be 50, and I'll take the extra pounds of wrinkles. I did lose some weight this year, so that's good. So just trying to stay positive and cover a little football and enjoy it, Phil.
Well, I guess high school football helps keep you young at heart, doesn't it? Covering it the way that you do. That's got to help a little bit, and you actually get games this week. Now, you told me these are benefit games, and we get some of them starting tomorrow. Do these count, or are these glorified exhibitions?
Glorified exhibitions, and I want to give you my disclaimer that I do every year, and I'm gonna print this tomorrow on social media. Don't get too high or too low on these guys. So a lot of years we've had fans say, okay, well, we're a lower classification team. We beat a higher classification team. We are better than them. Even though the reserves played the second half and, Team A was very vanilla with what they're going to do. This is like an NFL preseason game. But there will be teams that claim victory on this, and that's fine. But I think from a coaching point of view, you're doing a couple things. One, you're evaluating your team, banging on another team other than your kids. So they get to go out, have a game atmosphere, and play against somebody different. And you're seeing how they compete. But if, like last year, for instance, Bentonville got run out of the place by Little Rock Christian, it was 35-0 at the half. They played in the playoffs, and Little Rock Christian needed a drive at the end of the game from Walker White to win the ball game. It was obviously a whole lot different mindset by Benton. They're playing a lot of kids, weren't running Braylon Russell as much. In that second game, he ran wild. So just keep the proper perspective. And, if your team wins tomorrow night, that doesn't necessarily mean they're better, but just look at how they play. And we'll talk here in a minute about, what we're kind of trying to take out of each of these games. And the coaches are not worried about winning and losing. They want to see how the guys look. There's position battles going on. How are these guys playing? That's what they're looking for, and they're going to watch the tape for.
Who's the I want to ask you a question about maybe some athletes, Nate, and happy birthday. I like to talk about speed and athletes. Who, if you're just looking to go watch somebody, who maybe is the best two-way player? Who's the best guy that you got that's playing this week that's going to be playing both sides of the ball?
Oh man, that's tough. There's a guy named Terry Prater out of Prescott who was a defensive back. He's 6'3", 185, and he's playing quarterback for them. That's a 3A team, a little bit out of your coverage area. But they have designs on state titles every year, and this kid's very athletic. He's a 3-star. He's going to Tulsa. But he's going to play both sides, but he was going to get a lot of reps at quarterback. Long, lean, athletic guy. There's a guy at Ozark, Kobe Wilbanks, that's a quarterback, but he runs the ball well. He's not going to play on defense, but he's one of those guys that is entertaining because
you start off as a receiver kind of like you did, and now he's playing quarterback, and he's a guy that can run it and pass it. He's a small school guy, 4A, and they play Harrison, which I think is going to be a really good test for them, both smash mouth teams. And then another guy on that team, Eli McNutt on Harrison, he's a good two-way guy. He is very close to getting some major Division I offers. I know Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin talked to him this year, but he's 6'3", 220, and he's in that mold kind of Dax Goff was last year, but he's maybe a little more athletic, where he's a big, rugged guy, where linebacker and a rugged running back. But he's a guy to watch out for that could get this Division I offer soon. He is a junior. So, yeah, a couple guys like that. And then there's a guy named Amani Rand Greenwood that doesn't play both ways, but he is fast. So I think he's like the low 4.4s, maybe a 4.3, and they're playing Fayetteville. And that game is one that a lot of people are watching, guys, because Greenwood the entire year, particularly their fan base, is going to be lobbying for the number one spot. So, and they're not going to play some of these teams. So this in their mind is a proving ground. And if they come out and they take it to Fayetteville, that's what they're going to claim that win and say, okay, well, we beat them, put us in at number one. And, we will look at that. We look at those games. But like I said, it's a measuring stick a little bit for the coaches, but it's not every coach takes that as a true game to win, and they're doing a lot of evaluation. But I am very interested to see how Caden Archer does against the Fayetteville defense. They've upgraded. They've brought in Dax Horton. He's a transfer from Bentonville, and Parker Meese, who's a 4-star. Both those guys are linebackers. They're going to help their defense a great deal. And then they've got Garrett Odom at quarterback. So like I just said, you're not going to maybe give one team a win over the other, but there will be some great matchups, and I'm interested to see how these four receivers run patterns and how Archer works with them and how they do against the 7A defense. And there's going to be a lot of intrigue in this game.
Tell me about, let's see, some of these other games. Some of these games are tomorrow. Like, we're waiting for football for Friday, but we got like 6 games that you detailed to me that are tomorrow. So fans might want to get out and see Harrison and Ozark. Tell me about that one.
Yeah. Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit. You've got Will Banks at quarterback for Harrison and McNutt, running back, linebacker. These are, if I'm a coach, I want to schedule a team that's going to give me a challenge. And, it's tricky because you've got bigger schools playing smaller ones, but these are two programs that win a lot, that play smash mouth football, and when you go out on the field against the other one, they're going to be playing for stakes tomorrow. It's not just going to be an exhibition for them. They're going to go out and hit. And so I think that'll be a real hard-hitting game. And you've got a couple, like I said, a couple good athletes. Will Banks, I think he's trying to prove that he's a college-type player, whether it's quarterback or running back or receiver, does a lot of things. Hot Springs at Lake Hamilton, I think that's going to be an interesting game. It's a rivalry game, so a lot of people will be there. It'll be a good atmosphere. Hot Springs is trying to, prove that they are a player in the 5A. Last year they had a good season and lost to Lakeside in the regular season. That dropped them down to the 3 seed, even though they only lost 2 games, and they had to go to Shiloh Christian in the playoffs, and that is where a lot of playoff dreams go to die at Champion Stadium, and they came up with the short end there. But 9 returning stars on defense. They've got a shot to go deeper this year. And Lake Hamilton, first time they didn't go to the playoffs since 2005, they've been waiting for this game for a long time because they're trying to get the bad taste out of their mouth from last year. They had some injuries. They're a team that we think can contend in 6A West. I think a game between them and Shiloh Christian will determine that second seed in the West. Both those teams want that. Greenwood looks to be the number 1 team out there, and everybody else is going to be fighting for 2. So Lake Hamilton trying to build up to that conference season and hopefully get that 2 seed and make a playoff run.
Hey, Nate, who's the best player? I mean, last year it was kind of that receiver from Pine Bluff who ended up going to Courtney Crutchfield, who ended up going to Missouri. Who's kind of the best player just as the seasons get going that you're like, these couple dudes can go, whether it be a defensive end or whatever position? Who are the best couple kids in the state, non-quarterback kids?
Yeah, Omarion Robinson at Parkview is a 4-star safety. He can play. He plays receiver. He runs back kicks. I think he's also involved in the kicking game. He's a stud. You know, just been playing since he's a freshman at Parkview. Brad Bolding is finding more and more guys like him in the Little Rock area, and that's why Arkansas fans were so upset that they couldn't get him, because extremely versatile, and he's a guy that maybe could return kicks as a freshman if he doesn't play safety. You know, that kind of guy. So 4.4 speed. Good cover guy, you know, could play cornerback too, but playing safety. Just a very complete player. And then coincidentally, Marcus Wimberly is also a safety at Bauxite. You know, of all places, Bauxite. Michigan evaluated him as their number one safety on the board. They told the staff out of 50 or 60 guys they were looking at. They said he was number one. He got an offer from Michigan. Bauxite he will be the 3rd Division I player in school history there. It's a small school power, but they're not high on Division I talent. It's small. And so he is in rarefied air. But what sets him apart in high school at the 4A level is he'll play like 7 or 8 positions. He'll play quarterback, play running back, he'll play receiver, he will play safety on defense. That's where he's being recruited to go to Oklahoma. So he and Robinson are both going to Oklahoma. Could both be the safeties there, but they stand out because of their versatility. In 5A and 4A, they play a lot of different positions. But yeah, those two guys, probably the most complete football players in all of high school football, and they reside in that, what you would say, the smaller, medium-sized class, Matt.
Nate, man, I wanted you to say we have 2 awesome safeties in the state of Arkansas, and they're thinking about going to the University of Arkansas, not Oklahoma.
I know everybody is upset about that, and you know Marcus was committed to Arkansas initially, and then decommitted. And I think honestly he likes Sam Pittman, and I think he was worried about Pittman's job security. I really do. I think that's in talking to him, and you know, but we also know too that these things are verbal commitments are non-binding, so you can change your mind. I don't know what could change his mind about Arkansas. I mean, it seems like he's fully committed, but you never know. If Arkansas can win some games this year and surprise, there may be some guys that reconsider. But yeah, he was. Those 2 were tough ones to lose, and that's why Pittman took some hits, because I think people realize how good they are and how welcome they would be on the Hogs roster.
Man, I would say the same thing about Carius Kern, but he was somebody that committed and decommitted on LSU. He's the tackle out of Marion, so. Hopefully, hopefully they can change his mind as well, because you always need
9 wins
tackles.
might change some minds this year, Phil. Maybe you start looking at the schedule, find a way.
Maybe it would. Nate, let's leave it there.
You can do it. I think.
No, go ahead. No, I'll let you finish.
Well, I was just going to say, if you could do that, I think that could help. If they could, it definitely wouldn't hurt. There may be some guys that did flip.
So let's do it again next week, okay?
Sounds great. We'll see you guys. Thanks a lot for the birthday wishes, too.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Nate.
You got it. I think I probably owe more than just, happy birthday, since I did get an invite to the party.
We could have played a 50 Cent song at your birthday. He's turning 50. What other way do we got next week? We'll get him next week.
Yeah. Maybe we'll leave the little birthday glow on him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Nate is like
it's a birthday month.
He can be like that for us here. 877-377-6963 if you want to touch on any of that or anything else. You're on Halftime, and we'll be right back after this break.
Got a 911 with a quadraphonic Blaupunk. Don't need a quadraphonic Blaupunk. What you need is a curveball.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a fourth-generation family-owned business taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through September 15th, purchase high-quality GAF with Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
This is halftime.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
It's summer clearance sale time at Jelco Outdoors. Save 25% off summer casual and fishing clothing by Ariat, Brink, Hook, Wrangler, and Under Armour. Old Town kayaks and canoes, marked to cost. Save hundreds of dollars on the Old Town while they last. Archers, get ready for early bow season. Don't miss the summer clearance sale at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Hey, Todd Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window.
So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10.
6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel, 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Join us live Saturday, August 24th from 1 to 3 p.m. for the 19th Annual Football Trip of a Lifetime, brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and HitThatLine.com. Find out who's going to see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. How many monster burgers can someone eat in 5 minutes? It's all happening Saturday, August 24th, the 19th Annual Football Trip of a Lifetime, brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and HitThatLine.com. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
It's all too soon. I'm staring on you. If broken hearts were whole, I'm true. It's all something new when it comes from my heart.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Matt, I had some white knuckles yesterday at about, let's see, that would have been, I think, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Gabe had Little League practice, fall ball starting up very soon. So took the opportunity, since the Little League fields are close to some large empty parking lots that usually aren't empty Monday through Friday. We had a driving lesson yesterday with my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, since we're less than a year from the 16th birthday. And she's got to learn some point, right?
It's like you're walking into a cockpit of an airplane nowadays. These cars, I mean, there's gizmos and gadgets, and everything's got to be calibrated to the music, to the whatever you got going on. But yeah, there's a lot more than just putting somebody in a stick shift and saying there's your mirror, and going. It seems like there's a lot more distractions nowadays.
There definitely are. But the biggest distraction for me learning how to drive was learning how to drive a stick shift.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are so stuck on it that they refuse to own a car that is not a manual. Like you know how difficult it is to find a manual transmission for some of these models that they drive now? They will wait a month to 2 months or whatever before they find something that that doesn't shift itself. So that's how I learned how to drive, was on the stick shift. I was trying to explain to Sadie yesterday, it's like, all you got to do is worry about these 2 pedals. That's it. You don't have to shift anything on the right side, but pretty please make sure when you stop the car that you keep your foot on the brake until you put it in park. Because we were close to the river. The Little League fields are close to the river. Some of the parking spots are close enough to the river that if you take your foot off that thing and you roll through the guardrail, who knows what can happen at that point. So, but it was almost like we're not going any faster than 15, 20 miles an hour, but it was still white knuckle for me. I mean, I was frightened, but I kept telling myself, you got to teach her at some point. And look, she's got to learn how to drive 2 kinds of cars, because her mother's got the giant SUV Toyota, the one that feels like it's an 18-wheeler
Sequoia
on 4 wheels.
Yeah.
Yes, so there's that. She's got to learn how to drive that. I don't ever need a truck or a big car like that. So I got the Accord, the Honda Accord, which she says to me, boy, this is a lot easier to drive than Mom's. And all of a sudden, you know what that meant to me? That just means I'll get the request to borrow my car more than her mom will.
That just means when she's 16 or 17, you're getting a new car because she's just getting a new car. It'll be.
I just got this thing. You're
just breaking it in for her. Yeah, just hey, imagine in a year and a half she's going to be driving herself to school in the school traffic. I mean, she's got to start.
Her, other than me,
you got to start learning. That's right. You got to start teaching them.
I was late getting my son to the bus stop today. So the kids are taking the bus to school. I did tell my daughters, like, okay, I'll drive you to school today. This will be the one time this week we'll do this. We were late to the bus stop. This is one of these things that if you're not early, you're late, right? It says 8:02 is when the bus arrives. We get there at 7:58, all the kids are gone. So if you're not early, you're late. The bus company is on the Tom Coughlin style of arriving at a certain point. So that meant I got to drive through all the traffic. And one of the most frustrating things on earth is the carpool line at schools. Doesn't matter what school it is.
Can you not drop them off right to the side? Why do you have to get in that line? Why is there not a little pathway right there at the beginning? Like, get out of my car, go to class.
This school makes you drive, and it's not drive, inch around the entire school, from one side to the front to the other side, and you drop them off in the back. Like, you literally are casing the joint just to waste as much time as possible in the name of safety, for crying out loud. I mean, come on now. And then I got to go through all the downtown traffic just to get my daughter to high school too. So I was a little bit perturbed when I sat down here at the desk to start planning the show out. Matt knows this because I called him and I vented out. But we'll get a little better tomorrow, which means If he's supposed to be, if the bus leaves at 8:02,
7:50.
You'll get there at 7:45 or
That's
7:50.
right.
Because if there's one thing I'm going to pride myself on, it's not being late. Like, I'm not very good at a lot of things, but what I am good at is arriving on time, showing up, ready to go. You know, we've never started this show at 11:01. It has always started at 11 o'clock. So that's part of the rhythm of getting used to getting kids up and getting them to school again. So
school's in session, man. They got to both be excited, right? I mean, they're both pretty fired up.
Yeah, they're both of them are. You know, Sadie's trying out for the tennis team, so she's looking to get involved in that.
Get her a Chris Everett racket. No, Serena Williams. Sorry.
Well, that would go along. That would go along with learning how to drive a stick shift. Is
Getting you-
using the wooden Chris Everett tennis racket for high school tennis.
You know, you start thinking the Ken Griffey Jr. baseball glove. I guess who's the Aaron Judge baseball glove? Is that who he would want?
I assume there's an Aaron Judge glove. You know, so we went out and had a catch the other day because of Little League, and Gabe couldn't find his mitt. So we did a little digging around. We came up with a mitt that I think is here, but it's his mom's. And you want to know how old this glove is? Kirby Puckett's autograph.
Ooh,
is in the middle.
34 Kirby Puckett.
Which
Go
made
get
me
him.
a little bit misty-eyed, too. Remember, he
Yeah.
died. I mean, Kirby Puckett died, I think it was 20 years ago, maybe even longer than that, from glaucoma.
Don't say Kirby Puckett's name without you know, was that Mitch Williams? That's Joe Carter. Joe Carter and Mitch Williams, huh? Yeah.
Puckett hit Game 6's home run in 1991 against the Braves. That's a famous call by Jack Buck. We'll see you tomorrow. And I can't remember who it was that Puckett hit it off of. I can't. But of course, Kirby Puckett's in the autograph there, which leads me to a 20-minute dissertation to my son about Kirby Puckett's career, because I literally can't see that name and not. Do you know who Kirby Puckett is? Well, you don't. Let me tell you who he is. You saw his plaque over there in Cooperstown of the Hall of Fame. Great center fielder. All these things that just sort of
Him and
brought all
Tony
that
Gwynn
stuff up.
both way too early.
That's true. They weren't too different of a player. Puckett had a little more pop. He was great at getting the bat on the ball. Great center fielder. Probably a better outfielder than Gwynn. Gwynn probably a little more of like a pure
Bat on ball.
hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin still uses his George Brett autographed glove, and I would say, like, probably back at the old family compound in Pittsburgh, there's a Cal Ripken Jr. glove that I used to wear. All right, so what was your first car that you drove? Now that my daughter's learning how to drive on what I believe is a 14-year-old Toyota, it's not a Sequoia, it's the Pathfinder. I think that's what it is. No, that's a Nissan.
Nissan, yeah.
So it's not a Nissan, it's the Toyota version of the Pathfinder.
88 Chevrolet. That was the first 88 Chevrolet.
Now, that was an automatic, right?
Pops' truck. Yeah, I've always ever drove an automatic. One of my buddies had a stick, and actually I was practicing driving a stick, and I messed up, and Pops, we were in the middle of the intersection. Pops like, get out, go to the other seat. So I was so embarrassed, you know. You're like, but I couldn't do it, you know. I was like, and he's get out, and then we go. That's the last time I think I drove a stick or didn't drive a stick.
I learned on, I think it was like an 89 Honda Civic wagon. They haven't made these in a long time. It was like the SUV, the small SUV before SUV was ever a thing.
Like bigger than a RAV4 though, or a little. Is it kind
Maybe
of
a little smaller, but a little taller.
almost like a Jetta?
Wasn't the prettiest. It was brown. It wasn't the prettiest car of all time. I didn't care though. 16 years old. Don't have to walk to school. Didn't worry about the bus anyway. That was the greatest thing of all time. My daughter's not getting my car. We're gonna find some $2,500 hunk of crap. Make sure that the brakes work, and we'll
See,
do
the
it-
daughters
we'll
are
do it that
different than the boys. You know, the daughters, you got to get them a car that's got all the safety things, and make sure that. And the boys, you're like, yeah, here, take this 2 wheels, take these keys, and go.
Maybe I ought to teach her how to drive a motorcycle. Once that takes, I'm going to need to learn myself. 1 seat, 1. You're not taking boys anywhere. That's law. Jamie May says Charlie Liebrandt was the pitcher. There it is. I actually remember when you say Charlie Liebrandt, I can't help but see what to me looked like the most uncomfortable delivery of a pitcher of the 80s or the 90s was Charlie Liebrandt. That was a weird looking one. BE drove an 81 Ford Escort station wagon.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
nice.
Yeah. Ford Escort station wagon. and that just that puts thoughts in people's minds. There's an aura that's elicited by thinking about a car from the early 80s. Tape deck, or did it have the 8-track player in it?
My 88,
one of them.
Oh, my Chevrolet, the 88. It was a tape deck.
Tape deck. I still have the cassettes.
By the time it was mine, you didn't need a key to start it, and you could unlock it with anything you needed to. And so there would be, you had an hour-long lunch at Van Buren, and I'd come out and my car would be parked somewhere different. People would take it to go to and be like, what's going on?
Did you ever see video of, I think it was Derek Lee. It was a ball player for either the Astros or it was the Blue Jays. And this was something I saw at minor league games where they would make it seem like they're raffling off a car, and then all of a sudden in from right field drives one of the players' cars, and they're convincing him that they're giving that away. Remember, they did that with Derek Lee. 877-377-6963 to get with us here in halftime. We'll wrap up our second hour right after this.
It'll be like this one time at band camp.
This is halftime.
Pay attention. This happens fast. Routine, scheduled, maintenance. You know it's coming one day, but that day's in the future. Then the future comes, and your wallet's not ready for that $250 maintenance. But your forklift is. It needs it. Good thing you're smart. You're buying a used forklift from Medley Equipment Company this summer, and its first planned maintenance will be free because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird, Limbird Real Estate Group, has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours, or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at limbirdteam.com. LIMBIRD.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
The Solid Rock has been locally owned for over 46 years. When was the last time you were there? So much more than a bookstore. They have Christian t-shirts, church supplies, Bible studies, devotionals, home decor, gifts, and of course, a large selection of Bibles. And Bibles are engraved free of charge while you wait. Now, you can get custom laser engraving on select gift items and some Bibles. Located next to Sam's Club on South 74th, The Solid Rock is your source for faith-based books, music, clothing, and more. The Solid Rock, 452-4844.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
I mean, I want you to be excited about the football team. You got to get off this, negative that. That ain't never solved no problems, you know. Just listen, believe in the Hogs. You do. We've got a good football team. You're going to enjoy watching the Hogs play, and you're going to enjoy it. Hopefully you can get over there on Thursday night and watch us play here in the great city of Little Rock.
That's Sam Pittman just a few minutes ago at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. The appearance should be wrapping up. They usually keep that to about an hour, and of course he's going to get back to Fayetteville because they'll be practicing later on this evening. They've shifted practice to evening practices. But, hey, I mean, that's... You hear that there? We've got to get off this, negative that. And it is the same. I mean, it is the same coach that mentioned 8 interceptions on Thursday, which I think fed into that a little bit. So, but I understand where he's coming from. I don't know. You wouldn't expect the coach to say much different, but we'll have some other quotes from Coach Pittman tomorrow when we get all this stuff cut up, coming from the Little Rock Touchdown Club today.
The magic elixir, it's winning. I mean, everybody talk about whatever you want to talk about, but the elixir, what fixes it is winning. So instead of 4-8, you go 8-4. Man, we're looking at that number 8 a lot different. We're kind of looking at we're holding 8 in the same regard as Troy Aikman.
Yeah, sooner or later somebody's going to win that battle as far as number 8 is concerned. Yeah, winning is the thing is. I don't feel like anything that happens in the UAPB game, which is the one that's right ahead of you, it will change anybody's mind one way or the other.
Do you think it could only hurt you rather than help you? Like as long as you go to the UABP game, you win by at least 3 scores, you have, zero turnovers, nobody gets hurt, you kind of go at it like that, then you're fine. You go into the UAP game and those type of things don't happen. I think it could only hurt you instead of help you.
Bet Saracen has Arkansas as a 52.5 point favorite. Like you can't, if people are worried about anybody covering, well, they didn't cover. Well, did you see the line? 52.5. That's kind of like, what I'm getting at there.
Well, we're going to see the backups play. We're going to get to see some of the second teamers play, and it'd be a chance. And the thing, Phil, about some of these positions, this might be the only game you get in. It might be a while before you get in some meaningful snaps. So when you do get a chance and you're on that second team and you get a chance to play against UAPB, you better shine. You better flash across the screen, do good, know your assignment. Then you can get in when you play some of the big boys.
It does feel by now. People's opinions of what they project will happen, I think, have been set. And I think they've been set for a long time. Might have even been set just based on the idea that Sam Pittman remains the coach. And hopefully, some of those minds will start getting changed 2 weeks into the season. 877-377-6963 when you want to get with us here on Halftime. 1 hour to go. We'll talk with Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South, 1:15. So stay with Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adventure Dave will be attempting his greatest stunt yet. He will jump over 100 boats, ATVs, cars, and trucks, all at Adventure Oklahoma in Roland, brought to you by Auto Finders. Here he comes now. Adventure Dave, why did you choose Adventure Oklahoma for this stunt?
Well, Tom, Adventure Oklahoma is your one-stop shop for adventure. Plus, no one else would let me jump over their boats and ATVs.
It's the Segway Full Send Summer Savings Event going on now. You can choose between 0% financing for 36 months or up to $3,500 off select UTV models in stock. Now's the time because this offer ends soon. High-tech power sports and affordability for all adventure enthusiasts. Segway, fear no place.
That's right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with Destiny.
Yes, and what a jump it will be.
No, the jump is tomorrow. This is Destiny.
See y'all later.
Well, until then, visit Adventure Oklahoma in Roland, brought to you by Auto Finders. AutoFindersOK.com.
Your journey starts here.
This is a public service announcement for hard seltzer lovers. Neutral Vodka Seltzer has arrived. Made with simple ingredients like vodka, seltzer, and real juice. Neutral tastes good. Like real good. So good that you'll never want to drink another artificial tasting seltzer again. Neutral's light and refreshing taste will show you what a vodka seltzer can be. Try Neutral, the one with the umlaut. Copyright 2023 Neutral Distilled Spirit Specialty, Los Angeles, California. Enjoy responsibly.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, sunny skies. There is a chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms early. Our high today in the mid to upper 80s. Mainly clear to partly cloudy, low 60s north, upper 60s south overnight. On Tuesday, back to sunshine, a high low 80s north, upper 80s south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 10 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that we respect you. I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well,
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
For one Razorback is vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
All right, still rolling along here. 1 minute after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston producing today. And talking with Connor O'Gara in about 15 minutes from Saturday Down South. I'm just going to look at some of these headlines that are going on. Colt McCoy has officially retired from football. He was in the NFL for 14 seasons. I did not realize that. And I actually had forgotten that he had still been in the NFL. So McCoy retires and is going to be broadcasting now. Story doesn't necessarily tell. Yeah, it'll be in the NBC. Big Ten games. That's interesting. Instead of calling anything that Texas might be involved in, but maybe there wasn't an opening at ESPN. So Colt McCoy is retired. 56 career games in the NFL over a 14-year career, 5 teams. Third rounder by the Browns in 2010. And, of course, he's always connected with the game he didn't finish. College football
One
championship.
tackle, yeah.
That's exactly right.
He's really, really high-level college quarterback. I mean, you see that, the fact that he played so long in the league. And the thing with Colt is a little undersized, but that's okay. His accuracy was his superpower. He just didn't have the arm strength. You know, you weren't ever scared when he was out there that he was going to throw one over the top, or that's just kind of what. But as far as a dude, like he was, man, that's pretty good. I look at your boy Brandon Allen making a play when he got out there with the twos. Did you see that kind of little up and under, and then took out on the roll out there? I mean, he's had to be in the league, 8, 9, 10 years now, being a backup. It's pretty good living if you can get it.
It creeps up on you, doesn't it? Some of these careers and how long
because they
it
don't
goes.
play for 6 years. You know, when's the last time he's taken a meaningful regular season snap? You're like, oh, that was 3 years ago. You know, it's just like, oh, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, Allen's rookie season was 2019. So but he was drafted. I'm sorry, he was drafted in 2016, Matt. So you're right, 8 or 9 years.
Practice
Didn't get a
squad,
snap
couple years,
for 3 years.
Yeah,
that creeps up on you a little bit. Like James McCann crossing the 10-year breach of service time for Major League Baseball. That almost feels. I mean, it's been 10 years, but I think McCann. I think it took him 2 years, maybe 3 years to get to the majors with Detroit. But hey, that's 10 years. If you're a catcher and you stick around in Major League Baseball for 10 years,
you're doing something right.
You're going to be really, really good. Especially if you haven't necessarily had the best offensive numbers, though I think McCann isn't a pushover with the bat, but if you catch for 10 years, whether as a starter, which he was for a few seasons, or as a backup, which he is now, and a really good one too, you've done something really, really tough to do. Did you see some of the other debuts? Although I guess it wasn't a debut because Trey Lance had played before, but Lance had himself a really good game with for Dallas this last weekend. Bo Nix had a huge game. But do you trust what you see in the preseason? Because Nix, 8 out of 9, 80 yards, 1 touchdown, ran 3 times for 12. Jarrett Stidham was 7 out of 11, but 3 an interception. To me, it doesn't feel like there's much of a quarterback controversy there. If you pick Nix in the first round, what was he, the 12th pick overall? Felt like a reach, but he's going to get a chance to show what he can do when the season starts.
The play, I did see that touchdown play. That's a play that he's been running in college. It's the same play. It's a play that he's ran before. You're seeing that.
I saw one play where he ran over he crossed the line of scrimmage before throwing what he thought was a touchdown pass.
Hey, you want to see flashes is what you want to see as far as trusting your eyes. You want to see the progression, see him getting better. The third, there's a couple things you look at. I mean, there's definitely a checklist of things, but does he have the arm talent? Meaning, is he accurate enough? And that's just one of the things we just talked about. McCoy, he didn't have the arm talent. He had the mental capacity, but he didn't have the arm talent. Does Bo Nix have the attributes? Does he have a howitzer out there? Does he have a hose? Then can you make the right reads, and are you accurate enough? Those are the first kind of things. We know he's athletic. You can make some stuff with his feet, but these are, and Sean Payton, I mean, short list of top 5 coaches in the NFL, Andy Reid would be one of them. Sean Payton, if you're a quarterback, Jim Harbaugh, I think, is one of you start. I mean, you would want to play. That's who you'd want coaching you up, is Sean Payton.
You mentioned a quarterback, a former NFL quarterback that's going to be coming into Fayetteville as the UAB head coach, Trent Dilfer. I mean, Dilfer had it all, right? He had the howitzer of an arm as a top overall. Wasn't he a top overall pick?
He was just a tough. He wasn't that talented. I think he'd be the first to tell you. He's just a tough SOB, like just tough. He led that Ravens team that was the best defense ever, one of the best defenses ever. He was the quarterback. No, and they played against Kerry Collins.
That's right,
and
the Giants.
And neither one of those guys are you would say top 10 NFL. Trent Dilfer was never had a year where you'd said, hey, he's a top 10 quarterback. He just neither did Kerry Collins. Kind of, Brad Johnson, but that doesn't, not being a top 10 quarterback doesn't mean you're not amazing. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. We're just at that time he was never a top. He played ultimate game manager. Hey, you're going to have to make 3 throws a game, get them into the right play. Don't lose it for us. You see, we got the best linebacker, the best defensive front. We got the best safety. I think even Rod Woodson might have been still on that team. I mean, you start looking around, it's like, just don't mess it up and then make a couple plays when you have to.
We're going to talk about a quarterback that's got, accuracies, strong throwing arm, knows what he's doing. Tua Tagovailoa would fit that. He's had an interview earlier today on the Dan Le Batard show where he put former Dolphins coach Brian Flores on absolute blast. Now, I don't have the audio of this, but this is a quote from the Le Batard show today from Tua Tagovailoa talking about Brian Flores, who was his first head coach with Miami. Said, you have a terrible person telling you things that you don't want to hear or probably shouldn't be hearing. You're going to start believing that about yourself. And so that's sort of what ended up happening. He went on to say, you have somebody telling you that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here. You haven't earned this right. Asks you, dude, are you the best fit for this? Wow, that's tough stuff coming from anybody, much less your head coach. Is that the idea of you got to break somebody down before you build them up? But I don't know if you do that with a first-round pick in the NFL.
It looks like it. There's different ways to go about coaching, and you can be negative or you can be positive. It's sports psychology. I was never that. Just that you got to watch being personal. It's like that's what I think that you can't really. I mean, you got to understand what it is, and I don't think who's the coach that was that. Where is he now? I don't.
Brian Flores.
I don't know that he's a dude that's like, you're like, oh, man, I can't wait to go play for Brian Flores ever. Nobody's ever said that. So I don't think he's the
defensive coordinator for Minnesota.
And that's what he'll be for the rest of his – he'll never be a head coach again type thing. He just doesn't understand the gravitas of being a head coach is what it sounds like.
Please tell me the Dolphins and the Vikings play this year. Please tell me the Dolphins and the Vikings play this year. It doesn't look like it. Dolphins have NFC West instead of the NFC North. But that'll be one of those things. All right, let's get them together for a post-game handshake since these guys work together and seem to get along so well. Maybe in the Super Bowl, though probably not.
Sam Darnold versus Tua, Super Bowl? Yeah.
Don't think it's going to happen. Tell you what does happen, if you got the Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher with you when you're out on the river, you're going to catch some frogs. Frog fishing is a favorite thing to do this time of the year. Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. is the right size, has the right hook set up, and you're going to catch him. Find it at lurenet.com and tackle stores everywhere. The Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. Quick break, and Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South stops by halftime in just a moment.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
This is halftime.
I tell you what, I know this. Got a lot of guys with some big hearts. For 3 hours or however long, maybe 4 hours, we're the best team in the country today. And it's offense, defense, and special teams. It's some guys like Darren McFadden, baby. Y'all better put him in the Heisman. You better put him up there. I'm tired of him being number 4.
We got that wood right here, baby.
Somebody better look at this guy's the best football player in the country, and his name's not being mentioned. Lou Holtz, Mark May, number 5. You better look at him a little closer. He's a football player.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Summer is here and adventure is calling. Visit Southern Tire Mart for a new set of Yokohama tires to get your vehicle ready for summer travels. Southern Tire Mart is your trusted partner for top quality tires, professional services, and competitive pricing. Visit us in Fort Smith at 9700 Highway 271 and let Southern Tire Mart ensure your vehicle is ready for the open road. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Jaeger's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these red.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Eve from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Conneray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This
Find halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Headed over to the hotline and time to talk with Connor O'Gara on a Monday afternoon. Connor, of course, senior columnist at Saturday Down South. We always appreciate his perspective here on Halftime. Connor, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. It's a football week.
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
come a long way. The off season, I think we can say, is officially over, and you know what? I'm ready for it. This felt like a little bit of a fast off season for me personally, but I'm ready for some football.
It's interesting, you know, the big game this weekend in Dublin, Florida State versus Georgia Tech, 2 transfer quarterbacks. Although it is the second year for Haynes King at Georgia Tech, DJ Uiagalelei is the new guy at Florida State, third team. We were going through the Arkansas schedule, and as I understand now I don't know who the UAPB quarterback is, but everybody else outside of Tennessee, they're starting a freshman, Nico Iamaleava, and Mississippi State, who's bringing in Blake Shapen from Baylor as the starting quarterback. Everybody else has a returner, which feels a little bit odd for 2024 college football.
Yeah, Phil, I just got to say, your attempt at those pronunciations, it was noble. It really was. It really, like, you're a pro's pro in every way. And you know what, I appreciate the fact that you attacked it and didn't just take the easy way out and say DJ and Nico. So you know what? DJ Uiagalelei, he's probably not going to hear you say that, so he's not going to be offended. Nico Iamaleava, he's not going to hear you say that. He's not going to be offended. So you're good in my book, and I know that you at least attempted it, so that's all that matters. But no, you're right. Like, you kind of look at the schedule, and that's I think something that's really overlooked in a preseason schedule. I remember last year going into the start of that season for LSU, and all the questions that I had about their defense going into what I thought was just a brutal schedule for a defense still trying to figure some things out in terms of the quarterbacks that they were going to face. And KJ was part of that. And you had all these guys that were coming back as multi-year starters where you're like, man, they can get picked apart pretty easily here in the month of September if they don't really know what their identity is yet. So, yeah, I mean, I think that definitely it plays a part when you look at, you know, the preseason strength of schedule, the perceived strength of schedule, that whatever that may be. And who knows, maybe that's going to help or hurt Arkansas in the long run.
When I'm looking,
go ahead.
I was kind of looking at some of these first games that are going down with some teams in the SEC, and I look at A&M and Notre Dame. If you're Texas A&M, what kind of questions are still out there? I mean, what do you have to answer this first week against Notre Dame?
I want to see how they can block and protect Connor Wigman, because the last 3 years, the A&M offensive line has been so terrible. I mean, it's been a joke. It's truly like hard to believe that at that point of the Jimbo Fisher era, the offensive line play was that bad, though I guess you could probably point back to his final year at Florida State and see some of the cracks in the foundation with the offensive line there. But I want to see if they can actually keep a quarterback upright, because I love Connor Wigman, and I think he has the potential to be an all-SEC guy and maybe even a first-round prospect by the end of this season. But can you protect him against the year 3 Marcus Freeman defense? You know that they're going to try and send some pressure. They're going to try and get after Texas A&M and quiet that crowd a bit. But it's going to be a fascinating matchup for, look, a Texas A&M team that I think everybody agrees has left some meat on the bone. But Aggies are favored in that opener. They're favored against the Irish with College Game Day coming to town for the first time in 6 years. So, yeah, there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on them, but specifically they should be on the offensive line.
Now, we won't have you next week. We'll have you in a couple of weeks when Arkansas gets set to play against Oklahoma State. But, you know, Matt just mentioned one of the bigger games as far as the SEC is concerned, probably in the nation, with the first week with A&M and Notre Dame. Southern California, LSU can't be that far behind. I mean, they get the Sunday night telecast on ABC. It's a game that Lincoln Riley was trying to get out of, playing in the Roomba in Las Vegas. And it's Garrett Nussmeier's last chance to hold on to this quarterback job. Is he – I mean, look, you got guys that have won Heisman trophies, 2 of them in the last, 5 years at LSU. Do they need Nussmeier to be at that level, or do they just need him to be sort of a game manager?
Somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. He was kind of doing the game manager thing in the bowl game, his first career start against Wisconsin, and everybody was like, wait a minute, this guy for the last 3 years, we've been talking about him being a gunslinger. I mean, go back and watch the second half of that 2022 SEC championship where he filled in for an injured Jaden Daniels, and he was, I mean, just throwing the ball downfield at will against Georgia, and albeit with some underclassmen mistakes. But, yeah, they needed to be better than just a game manager, because I don't think that this defense is ready to all of a sudden be some top 20, top 30 unit. I think that they still have a lot of questions. They should be better just because simply you can't be worse than LSU was on the defensive side of the ball last year. But, yeah, I mean, they don't necessarily need him to be a guy that has, 40 touchdown type season. They need to be able to trust that offensive line, which should be one of the best in all of college football, best tackle duo that anybody has, Emory Jones and Will Campbell. And they need him to be able to cut down on some of those mistakes. And if he can do that and at least not put this defense in a tough spot, LSU absolutely has a path to get into the 12-team playoff.
Hey, Connor, Phil and I were talking earlier about Taylon Green and kind of some unknown Boise State to SEC. So we're going to kind of, catch it in real time. And I was kind of giving him a comparable, and he kind of reminds me of Brady Cook at Missouri. Who does Taylon Green kind of remind you of coming in here to Arkansas, and what type of player does he have to be for Arkansas to have success?
It's an interesting comp because I think, there are physical abilities there that I don't think anybody is going to question. And against some of these lesser foes, that'll really be on display. And you'll look at him at every bit of 6'6" and go, that guy's fun. And he's going to do some things that are going to make Arkansas fans go, all right, we got something here. I wonder if he's got a little bit of Felipe Franks to his game. And I'm talking like later in his career once he got to Arkansas, Felipe Franks. And I say that as a compliment, as someone who, he would have his moments where, he would just make terrible plays, and you're like, man, you just can't do that on this stage. He got better with that as his career progressed. But if there's also enough redeemable qualities there to make you feel like you're in a better spot with him behind center, and I think that's going to be the case with Taylon Green. I have them pulling off that upset against Tennessee going into the bye week, a game that could be really, really pivotal for the future of Sam Pittman, because I just think there are going to be one or two of those games this year in which he surprises people with how good he is at this stage of his career and the way that the offense can open up with everything that he can do. And I think that's why Bobby Petrino handpicked him out of the portal.
Is this an Arkansas program this year that can surprise people? Because I don't think there are big expectations, or even I would say medium-sized expectations nationally. There are fans who've started to buy in a little bit over these last couple of weeks, but I think they're doing that sometimes based off of hope, because we don't really know. We're only hearing from what the coaches are telling us, and media get a chance to watch practice for 20 minutes. So I think there's a lot of unknowns. Is this an Arkansas team that you think can surprise people in a positive way this year?
Game to game, yes. For an entire season, I see more of a 7-5 ceiling. Now, there could be a 7-5 ceiling in which maybe Sam Pittman wins 3 games as an underdog, and then you get into a bowl game and you win a game that maybe people aren't supposed to, people don't think you're supposed to win there. And then who knows? Like, there are ways in which this season can change instantly. Obviously, Arkansas has to be better in those close games. That's very well documented, the issues that plagued this team last year, and just not getting that one key play outside of the Florida game to be able to get that result that obviously Arkansas fans have been wanting. And I think that there's definitely scenarios and matchups that they can exploit. The offense simply has to be better in every facet. I mean, there's just no way around it, because I actually thought last year defensively they took a lot of steps forward in the post-Barry Odom era after that group was the worst pass defense in America in 22. And I thought that Travis Williams did a lot of things that Arkansas fans could have hoped for. But to me, so much about this and the future of Sam Pittman in Fayetteville is going to come down to whether or not he made that right hire and whether or not Bobby can find all the different ways to be able to exploit matchups game to game. To me, if you can do that and get to 6-6, all right, maybe there is a future for Sam Pittman beyond this year, and who knows how those wins come. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I don't think for a full season they're going to be quite as surprising as maybe some of these other teams that we've looked at.
Connor, in the SEC, give me 3 players that are just just all timers that you want to go watch this year, and non-quarterback players, like 3 of the best athletes in the SEC. And is Harold Perkins one of them? Do you see him having a bounce back year where he kind of gets himself back in the top 20 picks of the NFL draft?
Yeah, he's got to be part of that. And the usage with Blake Baker is so well documented. Keeping him at that off-ball linebacker spot, is going to be highly scrutinized. But what he does post-snap is going to be more relevant. How many opportunities he gets to be able to rush the passer. is going to be of more significance for how he develops. But yeah, he's must-see TV because, I mean, I don't have to tell Arkansas fans this. Like, the guy was a heat-seeking missile at age 18 a couple of years ago, and obviously regressed in that new role last year. Luther Burden III, to me, like, he's the best returning player in the SEC, one of the most electrifying players in all of college football. And for my money, like, what he did last year in that offense, switching to the slot after Dom Lovett transfers to Georgia, it was one of the best storylines of the SEC. And seeing a guy that was so decorated as a recruit really exceed expectations at a place like Mizzou as a second-year player. So I'd go with him. And then, you know, you can go a couple different directions. James Pierce, the get-off that he had as a defensive lineman, Arkansas fans will see that when Tennessee comes to town early in the season. But to me, Deion Walker, who is a guy that I just had on my show last week, actually, 340-pound defensive tackle for Kentucky who played at least 50 snaps in all but one game last year. I mean, it's just a marvel, the things that he can do at his size, and needs to get better as a pass rusher. He knows that, but as somebody that's all over these NFL draft boards, and he is must-see TV as well each and every week.
How do you think, speaking of Kentucky, how do you think the morale is with Kentucky when their coach, you know, flirted and would have left if A&M would have taken them? How do the players still, they kind of understand it's business? Do you think that that's a program this year that maybe could underachieve?
Yeah, morale could be better. It could definitely be better. I've gone on record saying I think this is Mark Stoops' last year in Lexington. I do. I think he steps down as the elder statesman of the SEC. I think he looks around at the nature of the sport, what it's become, and I think he kind of realizes, you know what, I've been making $9 million doing this. He's got his bourbon company that he's making millions with on the side right now that he's doing really well with, and I think he's going to look at the nature of the sport and going 7-5 and going, what am I doing at this point in my life? I don't really need to do this. My legacy is safe. He's the best coach in the history of the program. But I think he ultimately has another one of those seasons where it's a grind just to get to 7 wins. And that's a really tough place to be when you realize in this conference, you're now looking at a situation which, 7-5, and you're like 10th or 11th in the SEC in terms of order of finish, and you're very far from Atlanta. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be one of those years at Kentucky that we've kind of come to expect throughout the Stoops era.
So maybe they fall back a little bit. But out of that, let's just say, 16 teams in the SEC, out of the second division, at least going by the preseason poll, the bottom 8, are there any one of those programs that you think can surprise people, maybe make their way up into the top 4, top 8 of the standings in the SEC? Or do you think the coaches and media pretty much got this poll right?
Yeah, I think the media, we're all really smart. We all just knock this poll out of the park every year. No, we're pretty bad. We really are. I did a story on that right before SEC Media Days about how bad our track record is. It's just a little bit more difficult than one would think. But, yeah, I do think that if there's a team like that that's maybe kind of getting slept on, the two that come to mind are Oklahoma and Auburn. Now, Oklahoma has tons of questions as it transitions to the SEC, and understandably so. I think if they were returning 4 or 5 starters on the offensive line, it's a different story, but it's a totally new-look offensive line. You have a first-time starter in Jackson Arnold, who was right behind Nico Iamaleava and Arch Manning in those recruiting rankings last year. So what does he do in this offense with a new play caller and Seth Luttrell? So I look at a team like that, and I do think a year 3 Brent Venables defense shows up and looks a little bit more like the 2010s Clemson units that we've seen. And I think Oklahoma, even with a difficult schedule, has potential to be like that 9-win team and perhaps make some noise. And then, I think that there is a world in which Auburn, with Hugh Freeze taking control of the play calling duties, actually looks a bit more like the Ole Miss teams that we saw with Hugh Freeze, where week to week, man, you just don't know what you're going to get from that offense. Like, it can look like a world beater, and then all of a sudden, they beat Alabama one week, then they're losing to Memphis the next. Maybe that happens a bit with Auburn, with Peyton Thorne. The variability feels like it's all over the place with him, but I think that Auburn does have the ability to take that next step with all the help that they got at the pass catcher spots.
How long did it take you to pick every game in the SEC? So that was Connor on Saturday Down South has picked every game for every team. Now, I did that last week, but I told myself, I'm only taking 10 minutes. I'm just going by brand name because I was trying to figure out a way to have 6 teams finish with the same record since we don't know what the tiebreakers are. That must have taken you a little bit longer because, you analyzed it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can put a number on it, man. That was kind of a process that was done throughout the entire offseason. And, what have I said about this team? Does this upset make sense in this spot? Probably to sit down took me at least a couple of hours, but that was after these thoughts marinated for an entire offseason. I thought about doing the exact same thing you did, because that's something I asked Greg Sankey about at SEC Media Days. It was like, what's the update on the tiebreaker? And we still don't have a tiebreaker for the first year of the SEC championship, in which we don't have divisions to turn to. So, like, it's a really significant thing that we need to be able to figure out, that for whatever reason, the SEC has just been dragging its feet on this.
Yeah, it's the book report that never got handed in, as far as I'm concerned, just for right now. Connor, we'll leave it there, and we'll revisit in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the football this weekend, okay?
Gentlemen, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Always appreciate his time. It's Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South, every other Monday on Halftime. We'll open up our hotline for you now, 877-377-6963. The home stretch is upon us, and we are right back.
Last issue. Chaz Michaels is figure skating.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a fourth-generation family-owned business taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nuys work to give all of their patients a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5501 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farm. Now offering same-day crowns. 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
TGI Fridays on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith now has meal deals starting at $9.99, which includes an entree, side, and fountain drink. Try their delicious 6-ounce sirloin served with seasoned fries for $15.99. The Bacon Ranch Chicken Sandwich with seasoned fries, $11.99. Chicken Caesar Salad for $10.99 and more. Their meal deals also include tasty chicken fettuccine Alfredo served with garlic breadsticks for $12.99 and a cheeseburger with seasoned fries for only $9.99. TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue, Fort Smith.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
You never know what you will walk up on or find over the hill at the Tackle Box. For almost 50 years, the Tackle Box has been your home for hunting and fishing supplies and some of the best outdoor stories. Whether guns, ammo, fishing supplies, or home decor, come back and see them again. They even buy your old fishing tackle or guns. The Tackle Box, your sports store for hunting, fishing, firearms, and more. 3001 Street, Fort Smith, 646-3193.
The adventure starts at the Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
Hey, this is Dr. Charlie Liggett with River Valley Smile Center. We dial
782-8940.
Coach Todd Holland, head baseball coach of the University of Arkansas Fort Smith Lions. I call 782-8940.
Stay cool this summer with a York high-efficiency HVAC unit. Or for more information on endless hot water and high-efficiency tankless water heaters, give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Superstition, yes. Your modern eye with original skin and original life. Your modern shell wants to feel itself. You got it left now, honey, so what the hell?
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I watched this weekend that wasn't really a lot of fun. I watched, 15, 20 minutes of the Steelers against the Bills. They didn't score until the third quarter, and both Russ Wilson and Justin Fields weren't able to lead them to any points. So it's kind of ugly. It didn't do just the quarterbacks, too. They are just off right now on the offensive line. Don't have receivers that can get open. Can the defense play offense for the Steelers? Yeah, I'd feel a little bit better if they did that.
Man, I tried to go get Brandon Ayuk. He kind of fits the Steelers mold. I guess 49ers are asking for a little too much, but you think of a type of Pittsburgh Steeler receiver, and Brandon Ayuk would be a guy that would fit in well, I would think.
I feel like the trade would have happened by now if it was going to happen.
Russ, man, it's when I'm telling you I'll take Dak Prescott over you, that means you don't have a quarterback. I'd take Dak Prescott over Russell Wilson.
Now, we got fans right now that are looking. Mason Rudolph had a good game over the weekend for Tennessee. I don't know. There wasn't much that Mason Rudolph did that made me think that he was going to be the next starting quarterback for the Steelers or anybody else. But I don't know. You know Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season?
I told you.
Were you aware of that, Matt?
I told you this was the year. As soon as they went and got Russell Wilson, I said, man, y'all, that's like the Dallas Mavericks going and getting Klay Thompson. Like, yeah, we're coming back. We're going to go get a shooting guard that can't defend and is too old.
Still going to watch.
We're going to go get a quarterback that's fallen off the cliff. And it was never elite anyways. Russell Wilson was never elite. He had an elite team around him. Best running back at the time, best defense at the time, new young coach. I say new, but he was a young coach and a lot of enthusiasm coming on. He was a good situation for him. I'm not buying in that Russell Wilson's going to help anybody.
I want to hear. So Tua Tagovailoa, I got to say it correctly because Connor O'Gara kind of blasted me in the last segment since I was saying Iyamaleva incorrectly, and DJ Uiagalungale. Again, he's in my dome as far as that's concerned. So I'm going to try to say Tua's name properly. But as he put Brian Flores on blast, I can't wait to hear the unvarnished opinion from Russell Wilson about Sean Payton. And really, I think Payton was pretty honest about his opinions of Wilson when he was asked about it, even when the two of them were working together. So that feels like one of those relationships that sooner or later there'll be something to learn, and it might be a little bit entertaining, because it's always more entertaining to hear two guys trash each other than two guys talk how much they love each other, especially when you know it isn't true. But so I did get to watch some of the Steelers this weekend, though I could not bring myself to watch the second half. I really couldn't. At that point, I handed the remote to the boy and was like, here, you choose something, because anything you choose is going to be more entertaining than this. You watched a lot of soccer over the weekend, though, didn't you?
Premier League's here, Phil. They're here. They got a game today, Leicester City. Your boy James Maddison. And then you got the Tottenham Spurs. That's going to play today at 2:00. But I saw Man United play Fulham, 1-0 Red Devils. Watched Arsenal play Wolverhampton, 2-0 Gunners. Watched West Ham play Aston Villa, and Unai Emery. He's a Frenchie. He's the head coach there for Villa. Love Unai Emery. He's a heck of a coach, almost like Pochettino, kind of like you. Great coach. And then saw the machine that is Pep Guardiola and the Man City Citizens. They just, what are you going to do? They're a machine. They're built like the Germans, like there's just nothing you can do about it. 2-0 over Chelsea.
So the season just started. When do you get to the championship? When do the playoffs begin in the EPL?
The playoffs are decided last year, Phil. You have the Europa League, you have the FA Cup, you have Champions League. So the playoffs go on during the regular season, and as your regular season goes from last year, that sets you up into where you're going to be seated for the playoffs.
Wait a minute, we do playoffs before the season?
It's intertwined, and so you'll have international break. You'll have a couple international breaks before Christmas, and then you'll have another one. You got another transfer window. Speaking of college. Their transfer window for soccer is not over yet, and then you'll get another transfer window in the winter. Then if you transfer in the winter, you can't play in the playoffs for that year. If you transfer in the winter window, you're not allowed to play in the Europa League or the Champions League. So you make more of your signings in the summer window where you know that they can be for you in those games.
I just have trouble wrapping my mind around the idea that the playoffs are going on in the season before. It's like in NASCAR, Super Bowl.
Well, the regular season matters there. That's why. The regular season is the play. You think the playoffs are intense. It's just because the regular season's exhibition in American sports. The regular season, you lose and don't make it, you get relegated. You lose $100 million to your worth. It's the most expensive game in sports is to get promotion and then the same way relegation from the championship to the Premier.
I would love the idea of let's turn bowl season into the premise of what next season starts on with the transfer portal open and everything. You want to talk about chaos? The absolute utter chaos. So did you see this record that Caitlin Clark set yesterday? Most assists ever in the WNBA as a rookie already.
If she keeps trying, she might make something of herself.
She may make the Olympic team at some point.
She might be good enough to play on the Olympic team one of these years.
If she's lucky enough. She and Angel Reese both will play on that Olympic team. I can't wait to see what happens as far as the Rookie of the Year is concerned in the WNBA, because you got Reese, who leads the league in rebounds.
Co-rookies?
I could very well do co-Rookie of the Year. I just don't know. Like that's dependent upon the number of votes. Because if the WNBA does it the way that all the other leagues do it, it's media members that do the voting on this. So I only know of, now, have we ever had co-Rookies of the Year before in sports that I know of? Because I know of a co-MVP, National League 1979, Pittsburgh's Willie Stargell, St. Louis's Keith Hernandez. Yes, that Keith Hernandez. But I don't know of other instances where this happened. I think there might have been a split Rookie of the Year in 81. For those who remember Super Joe Charbonneau, did he split that Rookie of the Year with somebody? I don't know if I had a chance to meet this guy once because he was a color commentator for the Indians AA team, and I was working for that team in 97. Joe Charbonneau. Matt, I actually saw a little thing about him in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. There was nothing he did on the field because Charbonneau was known for doing some really weird things, including he could open a beer bottle with his eye socket. Let's just wrap your mind around that for a moment. He would open a beer bottle with his eye socket. Now, I haven't seen evidence of this, but it's been written about many times by people that I would hope are not lying about it. I've never heard of anybody doing this before. Opening a beer bottle with your eye socket, and not one of those twist-offs either. I mean, you want to talk about having some... First of all, how did you realize that you could even do that? Frightening. But yeah, I think there should be a split co-Rookie of the Year because Clark hasn't just set a record for WNBA rookies for assists. She leads the league in assists. It's like you get if one of them leads the league in assists and the other one leads the league in rebounds. What are you supposed to do here? I mean, it's like shocking to think about rookies leading either of those either of those categories. In any sport, truthfully, rookies aren't supposed to be leading the league in anything. I guess they won't get necessarily like too many MVP votes because your team usually has to be really good. I don't think the Sky have been great. I know the Fever are within striking distance, or right now are in the playoff picture. But I even went back and looked. Mark Jackson holds the NBA rookie assist record. And Clark is averaging, 8.3 assists. And she's done that over 28 games. Mark Jackson averaged over 10 assists per game for the 1987-1988 New York Knicks. And he did that in 82 games. I guess it helps when you can dish to Gerald Wilkins and Patrick Ewing and Kenny Skywalker. And he never averaged over 10 assists a game after that. But that is the NBA record, and he did win Rookie of the Year. He didn't have to split the award.
He took that Knicks team. Eventually, he took them to a world championship. They got beat, and then he took the Pacers to a world championship too, when they had Rick Smits and Jalen Rose. They weren't able to get through. But yeah, Mark Jackson, man, he kind of had that old school. He'd back you down, kind of fill it out, get your hand off of me, And he was a solid player.
Clark averaging 17.8 points a game, shooting 41%. Reese is averaging 13.6, 39.8% shooting. So you're going to have to parse these things if you're worried about who's going to win the WNBA Rookie of the Year. But now that the league has gotten back after the Olympics, these two players are getting all the headlines, and for probably very good reason as well. Quick break on halftime. Back to wrap the show up right after this.
McLovin? What kind of a stupid name is that, Fogel? What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer?
This is halftime.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
It's kickoff in Arkansas and the 76th anniversary of Razorback football inside historic War Memorial Stadium. Begin the holiday weekend right with tailgating, the Hog Walk, the UA and UAPB marching bands, and Razorback football's 2024 opener. Call the Hogs on Thursday night, August the 29th, in a historic in-state matchup with the UAPB Golden Lions. Kickoff set for 6:30. Get your tickets at ArkansasRazorbacks.com, and we'll see you on Thursday, August 29th, 6:30 in Little Rock.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salad. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
All right, there have been 3 instances of co-rookie of the year in the NBA. I was able to find this just by a very simple Google search, which, of course, everything is solved by that. First time it happened, 1971. Jeff Petrie of Portland and Dave Cowens of Boston split the award. 95. Jason Kidd and Grant Hill shared the award. And the last time it happened was 2000. Stevie Franchise and Elton Brand shared that award.
Stevie Franchise. Now, Jason Kidd and Grant Hill, both Hall of Famers. Grant Hill would have been if he wouldn't have been hurt. No. Jason Kidd, Stevie Franchise. Elton Brand, man, what a great undersized big Duke Blue Devil. I remember some Elton Brand, man. He could give you. He was a wrecking force. Franchise you never was really a believer in him. A younger guy, like you think Ja Morant, and then it's like, well, where's Ja Morant? You know, the littler, smaller, athletic athlete. You got like a 5-year window. You almost got to be a little bigger. You know, you got to be a little taller to last a little longer.
National League split the 76 Rookie of the Year between Butch Metzger and Pat Zachary. Metzger, a pitcher of the Padres, Zachary, a pitcher with the Reds. And then in the American League, it happened in 79. Third baseman John Castino of the Twins, shortstop Alfredo Griffin from the Blue Jays. Griffin had a really long career. Mr. Beer Bottle in the eye socket won the 80 American League Rookie of the Year award by himself. That was Joe Charbonneau. Because truthfully, do you want to share an award with somebody that can open a beer bottle with his eye socket?
No,
or just say, this is for you, take it, please?
Yeah, he won the talent show version as well that year.
It's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard that anybody can do. Like, I used to be able to bend my fingers all the way back to my hand, to the back of my palm. I can't do it anymore, but that's still not as weird as opening up a beer bottle with your eye socket. Because I just don't even know how you realize you can do something like this. Did you get punched in the eye at some point and didn't feel anything? You know, did the kid break his hand when he punched him in the face? You know, we got to ask Joe Charbonneau these questions, and he's still alive at the age of 69. If he can open a beer bottle with that eye socket still at the age of 69, we should all be following whatever his dietary restrictions are, because that is one of the weirdest things I could ever imagine. Yeah, it brings back some memories thinking about guys like Mark Jackson, because that was my era of the NBA. You look at who was on that Knicks team. Rick Carlisle was on that Knicks team. Yes, Bill Cartwright, before he got to the Knicks, or before he got to the Bulls. Yes,
shot awkward, but my arc right.
One of the more awkward looking shots. Yes,
like Bill Cartwright.
And Kenny Skywalker was on that team too. Gerald Wilkins. Was he related?
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought that's his brother. Right?
Yeah. They're
Dominique?
he never was as good as Dominique, but Dominique's a first ballot Hall of Famer type talent. I guess we should check. I should check if Dominique's in the Hall of Fame. I think he should be.
Well, I would imagine he is. He is in the Hall of Fame. Can't imagine he wouldn't be. He averaged almost 25 points a game over a 16-year career.
Human highlight reel, man. You talk about best dunkers in the NBA ever. I'm taking Dominique Wilkins and Vince Carter, and you can have whoever else you want. I'll take those two against anybody.
I bet you Neek can still get up and dunk, right?
Vince was still doing a 360 at age 40.
And Super Joe Charbonneau is still opening beer bottles with his eye socket at 69. Again, goals, right? Life goals. Thanks for being alongside for halftime today. Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast coming out shortly. Ruskin and Zach standing by, and we're with you tomorrow for another award-winning edition of Halftime. For Matt Jones, for Seaburger Movie Unit, Kristen Johnston, I'm Phil. Thanks for tuning in. Get up, get out, and get better.
Has your job been grinding your gears lately? Then let me tell you about Lavorne Lumber. They're looking to fill a regional over-the-road position. They use brand new